Friends, this is the story of a person who always dreamed of becoming a very powerful knight. For that dream, he trained extremely hard since childhood, but because he had no talent, he ended up becoming just a regular war soldier. However, during a war, one day a soldier kills him. But that day, he discovers that he possesses a very powerful and special ability whenever someone kills him. He revives one day in the past. Because of this ability, our hero eventually becomes extremely overpowered. And, friends, one more thing, you might feel that the graphics of this series are not very impressive. But let me tell you, the storyline of this series is absolutely incredible, and you're going to enjoy it a lot. So, let's begin this amazing series. In the beginning of the series, we see a person banging utensils to wake everyone up, shouting, "It's morning. Everyone get up quickly." We are then introduced to our hero Encrid, who is still sleeping nearby. Another person is putting on his shoes, but suddenly shouts, "What the hell? There's a bug in my shoe." His loud voice wakes up Encrid, and Encrid thinks to himself, does this idiot not have anything better to do? He's always making noise every morning. Then Encrid introduces himself. "My name is Encrid. I am a war soldier, and also the leader of a squad. My squad has a total of 5 people." Next, we're shown a war scene. A person is shouting, "Everyone charge! Attack the enemies. Let's show them we're more powerful." The battle begins. Soldiers from both sides are fighting fiercely. Encrid is among them, battling too. A soldier charges at Encrid, but he kicks him away just then. Another soldier grabs Encrid and throws him to the ground. As the soldier is about to punch him, Encrid slashes his throat with his sword. Encrid picks up his sword again and says, "I'm not a talented person. I don't have powerful skills, nor can I use magic powers." Just then, an arrow flies toward Encrid, but he dodges it. It hits another soldier, killing him instantly. Encrid continues, "I'm a weak soldier, but since childhood, I had a dream. I always wanted to fulfill it, but whenever I shared it, people laughed at me. They told me I could never achieve it because I was too weak." Suddenly, a soldier attacks Encrid with a sword. This time, Encrid is unable to dodge, and the soldier stabs him in the neck. Encrid is in shock. He thinks, even after all this hard work, am I going to die such a pathetic death? Is this the end for me? The attack is powerful, and Encrid collapses to the ground dead. But suddenly Encrid opens his eyes. He finds himself in a completely different place. He's shocked and wonders, where am I? Who brought me here? His eyes close again, but reopen shortly. He's in disbelief. He thinks, what just happened? Was that a dream? But I'm sure I died in that war. So how am I alive? He notices the same guy next to him again putting on his shoes, and once again, a bug comes out of the shoe. The guy yells the same words. What is this bug doing in my shoe? Encrid is now shocked. He thinks he said the exact same thing before. Am I imagining things? No. It must have been a dream. The scene shifts to the battlefield again. Encrid is once more fighting with the soldiers. A soldier charges at him with a sword. Encrid can't dodge it and again gets stabbed in the neck and dies. The scene resets again. Encrid opens his eyes once more, now even more shocked. He thinks, this isn't a dream. I really died and came back one day in the past. This is happening for real again. The battle resumes. This time Encrid notices the same soldier coming toward him. He thinks, damn, it's the same guy who kills me every time. I can't let him kill me again. The soldier charges and attacks Encrid. Encrid tries to dodge, but once again, he is stabbed in the neck. As he lies dying, he thinks, this guy isn't just powerful, he's insanely fast too. The soldier walks away, and Encrid, lying on the ground, wonders what the hell is going on. Why is this day repeating again and again? I die every time, but I don't want to die anymore. Once again, Encrid wakes up, but this time in a different dimension. On a boat, he sees a strange creature, who says to him, in front of you is a giant wall. If you want to survive, you must break through it, but your destiny is to struggle and die. You won't achieve anything. In the end, you'll have to give up. Hearing this, Encrid gets furious and shouts, shut up, who the hell are you? The scene shifts again. Encrid wakes up once more and sits up immediately. The guy next to him says, leader, you woke up really early today. Is it some special day? Encrid replies, Ram, there's a bug in your shoe. Ram checks and indeed finds the bug, crushes it, and angrily says, leader, did you put this bug in my shoe just to mess with me? You know I hate bugs. Encrid responds, shut up. Why would I do that? He walks out of the tent, thinking to himself, I've seen this bug die for times, but this time, I don't want to see it again. I need to be ready. Then Encrid begins narrating his past. When I was very young, I used to train with my father. I could defeat him easily, and he praised me a lot. One day he told me, if you keep practicing like this, one day you'll become a powerful knight. Those words shocked me. That day I saw a dream with open eyes. I thought, can I really become a knight? A knight is someone who can change the outcome of an entire war. A knight is as powerful as 1,000 warriors and invincible force. That day I decided I will become a knight, so I left my village and joined a mercenary group. In that group, we see members drinking and laughing, mocking someone. One says, "Do you guys know? This kid wants to become a knight, but he can't even fight small monsters properly. Do you think he'll even become a decent soldier someday?" It turns out, they're talking about Encrid, who is sitting injured. Nearby, he narrates, "I had left my village not long ago and joined this mercenary group to become stronger. But now I'm realizing I was extremely weak, and if I wanted to become strong, I had to work hard from that day. I began intense training. Days passed, and I kept making myself stronger. Eventually, I became so powerful that I could fight monsters alone and even kill them. But one day, something very strange happened. A noble family's young boy defeated me. We see that the noble boy says to Encrid, "Warrior, I challenged you because I wanted to test my skills, but I didn't expect you to be this weak." This made Encrid extremely angry. He thought, I've been training since childhood to become this strong, but do I truly lack talent? That a mere noble kid could defeat me? Yes. He belongs to a noble family and receives special training. But what about my training that I've been doing since I was a child? Am I really just trash? Then we see Encrid picking up his sword and training again. He thinks, if I want to become stronger, there's only one way. I have to work even harder. We see him training with a tree, and as he continues, the evening falls. Encrid becomes more and more frustrated, shouting loudly while training all night. When morning comes, he looks at the tree and thinks, will there ever be a day when I can cut this tree down with just one strike of my sword? Yes, that day will come, and to make it happen, I must prepare myself. Encrid starts attacking the tree again, still shouting in frustration. He says, I was extremely weak, and I wanted to become strong. I kept training like this for 3 years. After that, I finally got to join the war. Somehow, I even became a squad leader. Now I have 5 people under my command who always follow my orders. Back to the present, Encrid comes out of his tent. Outside, a man named Jackson is sitting. Encrid says to him, Jackson, can you do my morning duty today? I have a small task. Jackson is surprised but says, sure, I don't mind. But in return, you have to treat me to a good meal. He starts walking off. But just then Ram appears. Ram comments sarcastically, look at this cat, he never helps anyone. And today, even if he is helping, he wants something in return. Encrid replies, Ram, I want to learn your skill, Heart of the Beast. Will you help me with that? Ram is shocked. He replies, Squad leader, I think you've lost your mind. The last time I tried to teach you this skill, you gave up terribly. You said it was impossible for you to learn it. Now you want to try again. Encrid then explains, I'm just a simple warrior. I don't have any special skills. Nor do I belong to a noble family that received elite training from childhood. But the man who keeps stabbing my neck and killing me, he's highly skilled. If I want to defeat him, I need to get stronger, and for that, I need powerful skills. Next, we're shown another battle scene. Soldiers are attacking one another. Encrid is fighting too. Just then, a soldier comes at him with a spear. Encrid thinks, first, I need to dodge this spear. He easily dodges the spear and uses his shield to knock it away. He then thinks, second, I need to save that soldier. We see an arrow flying toward another soldier. Encrid rushes in and saves him. Then, another enemy soldier jumps in to attack, but Encrid quickly moves and slashes the enemy's neck. He thinks, only one last thing remains, and that is him. We then see the soldier who kills Encrid every time. He kills someone again and then spots Encrid. He starts walking straight toward him. Encrid thinks, this man is extremely strong. Every time he attacks me using a single move, a perfect stabbing technique. Flashback. Ram once said to Encrid, squad leader, you have a problem. Do you know what it is? Then, Ram suddenly attacks Encrid's neck with a powerful strike. Encrid gets terrified and even shuts his eyes. Ram mocks him. Look how scared our leader is. Now listen to me carefully. If you ever react like this on the battlefield, you'll die instantly. You need to become someone who has no fear of death. Someone who doesn't see the enemy as a threat, but as prey. Someone he's ready to hunt and kill. That is the essence of my skill heart of the beast. Back to the present, the enemy soldier attacks Encrid again, going straight for his neck. Encrid thinks, maybe Ram was right, I fear death too much. But why? My death is actually helping me grow stronger. And for the first time Encrid dodges the attack. He thinks, finally for the first time, I've dodged this guy's attack. Even the enemy soldier is shocked. Encrid realizes this is my chance. I have to launch a powerful attack and end this. He prepares to strike, but once again, the enemy stabs him in the neck before he can attack. Encrid dies again. Filled with rage, the scene shifts to the mysterious dimension again, where the creature on the boat sits. The creature says, bye. Now, you should have realized you're just a useless person. You'll never achieve anything in life. Give up and hand over your soul to me. But this time, Encrid is silent, and then suddenly starts laughing. He says, I don't think so, because now I'm actually starting to enjoy this. The next scene shows Encrid waking up again. Ram is putting on his shoes and says, Squad leader, you're up early again. Is it a special day today? Encrid, meanwhile, thinks to himself, I can feel it. Day by day, my strength is growing. If I can dodge his attack, I can kill him too. Another scene begins. Soldiers are fighting, Encrid dodges an attack at high speed, he thinks. Before he attacks me again, I need to strike first. The moment Encrid tries to attack the soldier once again slashes Encrid's neck. This fills Encrid with intense rage. He thinks, damn it, this bastard is insanely fast. And once again, Encrid collapses to the ground. But this time, something falls from his neck. It's a locket. Seeing it, Encrid thinks, I remember now. I got this locket back when I was a mercenary. He begins to narrate, when I was a mercenary, I was given a mission by a village. Wild wolves frequently attack their people. So I went there and killed all the wolves. I probably took that mission to see how strong I had really become. But the people of that village were extremely poor, and they couldn't even pay me the reward they had promised. Instead, the village chief gave me this locket and said it would help me in the future, and might even change my entire life. And Encrid wonders, could it be that this locket has some kind of special power? Is this why my day keeps repeating over and over again? Suddenly, the same soldier who just killed him walks toward Encrid and says, Warrior, you look like you're in a lot of pain. I feel bad for you. Let me help you out. Hearing this, Encrid is confused, thinking, what kind of help is this guy talking about? The soldier smiles, lifts his sword, and stabs Encrid in the neck again. Once more, Encrid dies. The next scene begins with Encrid speaking to Ram. He says, Hey Ram, I put a bug inside your cup, be careful. Ram is shocked and shouts, What? Angrily, he yells, Squad leader, I think you've lost your mind. When did you start doing weird stuff like this? Encrid squashes the bug and says, Cut the nonsense and come outside. I need to learn your skill heart of the beast. Ram is stunned to hear this. In the next scene, Ram attacks Encrid with a powerful blow using his claws, but Encrid dodges it swiftly. Seeing this, Ram is shocked and says, Squad leader, you're behaving unusually well today. Do you realize you just dodged one of my strongest attacks effortlessly? What surprises me even more is how did you manage to master Heart of the Beast so easily? I only taught you the basics. Encrid thinks to himself, idiot. That's because I've already died countless times. Every day. I've been training with you, learning Heart of the Beast. Then he says out loud, have you forgotten that when I gave up on Heart of the Beast last time, I had already learned quite a bit about it? That's probably why I'm not having trouble using it now. Encrid grabs his sword and says, What are you staring at? Come on. I'm ready to fight you. Ram is shocked, but also excited. He grins and says, Now we're talking. Let's have some fun. Ram starts attacking, and Encrid narrates, Even though I've mastered Heart of the Beast, it only made my heart stronger. To defeat that soldier, I need to improve my offensive skills. That will only happen if I defeat Ram. Ram yells, Squad leader, what's going on? All you're doing is dodging my attacks. Are you never going to strike back? He launches another attack, which Encrid dodges, but this time he gets a small cut on his face. Encrid thinks, since childhood, I've never properly learned any skill. Our mercenary group never gave that kind of training. But over the past few days, I've been observing one specific technique repeatedly, and I think I've finally mastered it. Rem laughs and says, Squad leader, what are you doing? Are you seriously not going to attack me? Suddenly, Encrid shifts into an attack stance. He then uses the soldier's own stabbing technique against Ram. Ram is stunned, but manages to block it easily, knocking Encrid's sword away. Encrid thinks, I thought I had mastered that soldier's technique after all. I've died so many times because of it. I really believed I could pull it off. But was I wrong? Maybe I didn't perform it correctly. Rem says, squad leader, even realize what mistake you just made? Encrid asks. What are you trying to say? Ram explains, you used a stabbing technique on me, but when I looked at you, it seemed like even you weren't sure if your attack would work. That's your biggest mistake. No matter how flawed your technique is, you must have absolute confidence in yourself. You need to believe that your attack is perfect, that no one can possibly escape it. Encrid is stunned by these words. He thinks maybe Ram is right. When I was attacking, even I wasn't sure if it would work. If I want to execute this technique properly, I need to have complete faith in myself. The next scene shows Encrid fighting that same soldier again. The soldier stabs Encrid in the neck, knocking him to the ground. He says, you look like you're in a lot of pain. Let me help you again. And once more. He stabs Encrid and kills him. After that, Encrid is seen sparring with Ram again. But his attack still fails. Encrid narrates, every day, I fight that soldier and he kills me. Then I practice with Ram in the morning, trying to perfect my stabbing technique. But that damn soldier, he always ends up killing me. The scene ends with Encrid dying once again. He was absolutely furious, thinking to himself, no matter what happens, I will definitely kill this damn guy. With that, he launched a powerful attack on Ram. Ram tried to counter it with his own move, but he failed to block the strike, and was thrown far back. Encrid had executed the technique perfectly. Ram was shocked. Squad leader, when did you master that technique? It's incredibly dangerous. If I hadn't tried to block it in time, you would have killed me, but you made a big mistake. You gripped your sword too tightly. If you keep using the technique that way, your own hand will get injured. You need to loosen your grip slightly to use this move perfectly. Encrid smiled and thought, so I've finally mastered this technique. In the next scene, Encrid and the soldier attack each other at the same time. Encrid uses his stepping technique, but the soldier is wearing a helmet, which saves his life. However, the soldier stabs Encrid in the neck again, severely injuring him. He then knocks Encrid to the ground and steps on his chest, trembling in fear. That attack of yours was terrifying. I must have gotten lucky to survive it. You would have killed me otherwise. As he prepares to stab Encrid, Encrid says, you really were lucky today, but tomorrow I will kill you. The soldier laughs and says, you idiot. You won't be coming back to get revenge once you're dead, and stabs Encrid again, killing him. Next, we see a scene where Encrid had earlier killed a bug. Ram is shocked. Squad leader, how did you know there was a bug in my shoe? Encrid replied, don't worry. I saw it crawling in. Ram thanked him, thanks, I really hate bugs. But Encrid snapped back, I don't need your thanks. Go take my shift. Ram was surprised. He always used to ask me politely, but now he's giving direct orders. Something feels different about him today. Then we see another character working out. Encrid approaches and says, hey, Big Eyes, listen to me. The boy gets irritated. Squad leader, how many times do I have to tell you my name is Kachi, not Big Eyes? Please stop calling me that. It's insulting. Encrid responds, fine. Now listen, I need armor and a dagger. Go buy them for me. I'll pay you later. Kachi reluctantly agrees, okay, I'll get them. But promise me you'll pay me back on time. Ram arrives and comments, hey Kachi, don't you think the squad leader is acting strange today? Just then, Jackson appears and mocks Ram. Wow. I didn't know you could think. Annoyed, Ram snaps, shut up or I'll chop off your fancy hair with my axe. Another team member walks in, praying for Encrid. Our squad leader is always troubled. I pray that his worries come to an end. Then yet another person arrives complaining. Why does morning come so early? I haven't even finished sleeping. We switch back to Encrid, practicing with his sword. He thinks, this day will keep repeating until I defeat that bastard. He's like a wall I must cross at any cost. He strikes a tree using his stepping technique and splits it clean into dot. In the next scene where horns blare, Encrid suits up, fully prepared for battle. No matter what happens today, I will kill him. His team members are also ready and march alongside him. Then we see the battlefield, where soldiers are locked in fierce combat. Encrid fights furiously, thinking, certain things keep happening again and again in battle, but I've memorized them perfectly. I won't let them happen to me again. Someone tries to hit Encrid with a staff from behind, but Encrid slices his neck with his sword. He recalls, last time, someone stabbed me in the leg. Sure enough, a soldier tries to stab his leg, but Encrid is wearing armor and takes no damage. He retaliates with a shield bash and kills the enemy. Then another person throws an axe at him, but Encrid dodges it and kills the attacker by throwing his small dagger. This is why I bought the armored dagger, he thinks. Now only one thing remains, the shield. I must use it to protect that person. Suddenly, he rushes in and uses his shield to protect someone from an incoming arrow. Then he kills the enemy who was about to strike from behind. I've cleared every obstacle in my path. Only one remains. He locks eyes with the soldier from earlier, who starts charging at him. The soldier launches a strong attack, but Encrid blocks it with his shield and quickly counterattacks. As he moves in for another strike, the soldier attacks again, but Encrid blocks it with his sword. The soldier thinks, I thought I'd kill him in one blow. He seemed like just another warrior, but he blocked 2 of my attacks so easily. He's no ordinary warrior. Encrid headbutts the soldier hard in the chin, then jumps and delivers a powerful blow. The soldier sees it coming and strikes at Encrid's neck, but Encrid dodges. The soldier tries again, using his full strength and stabbing technique. At the same time, Encrid uses his own stabbing technique. Their swords clash. Encrid's blade shatters the enemy's weapon. At this moment, we see an archer who lands an attack that is stronger than an Encrid. We are then shown a soldier who is in shock because his sword is broken. He doesn't understand how his stabbing technique failed. Once again, Encrid attacks this person, but at the same time, we see an arrow flying toward Encrid. Right before it hits him, we see an axe cutting the arrow in half. Then we see that Encrid has finally stabbed his sword into the neck of that person. It turns out that the one who threw the axe is none other than Ram. Ram shouts angrily, "That damn archer gave me so much trouble. If I ever get my hands on him, I'll chop off his head with my axe." Meanwhile, Encrid is standing near the fallen soldier, and he too looks very exhausted. He looks toward the soldier, who is glaring at Encrid. Encrid raises his sword and repeats the same dialogue the soldier once told him. "I think you're in a lot of pain. Let me help you." Then Encrid cuts off the person's neck with his sword. We see Encrid smiling and thinking, finally, I've destroyed this wall. But suddenly, someone attacks Encrid, throwing him far away. The impact causes Encrid immense pain, and he screams loudly. Both Jackson and Ram hear the scream. Ram yells, "Stay away from my squad leader or I'll kill you." We're then shown the attacker. It's not a human, but a mutant frog, part of the worst soldiers. The frog looks at the soldier's body and says, "He was extremely powerful. I can't believe a normal warrior like you defeated him. If you were able to defeat him, that means you're highly skilled. And now, I must eliminate you." As the frog moves in to attack Encrid again, Ram appears and blocks the attack. Ram counters with his own attack, but the frog blocks it too. A fierce battle breaks out between Ram and the frog. Meanwhile, another soldier is about to strike Encrid with a spear, but Jackson arrives just in time and slices the attacker's neck with his sword. We see that both Ram and the frog have backed off slightly, ready to fight again. Ram says, "If you want to kill my squad leader, you'll have to kill me first, and let me tell you, I've dealt with frogs like you before." The frog replies, "You said he's your squad leader? How is that possible when you're so much stronger than him?" But as the frog looks at Ram, he senses a deadly killing intent radiating from Ram's body. The frog thinks, if I fight this guy, my death is certain. This battle isn't worth it. I need to escape. So, the frog turns and runs. Ram says, "I thought he'd fight me, but he turned out to be a coward." We then see Jackson carrying the unconscious Encrid, trying to escape. Suddenly, another soldier attacks Jackson, but Ram appears again and decapitates the attacker. Yet another soldier comes at them with a sword. But this time the third squad member shows up. He easily slams the attacker into the ground with his bare hands. Then the fourth squad member arrives, slashing through several enemy soldiers with a single sword strike. Now, all the squad members surround and protect Encrid. Seeing this, the remaining enemy soldiers begin fleeing the area. Evening falls, and Encrid thinks, finally, this day is over. Then he loses consciousness. Next, we return to that mysterious dimension, where Encrid opens his eyes again. The same creature is there, saying, "You've broken your first wall, but remember, your next wall will be even more powerful if you want. You can still give up and hand over your soul to me." But Encrid stands and replies, "You really think these walls will ever make me give up? I don't think that'll ever happen. These walls are only making me stronger every day. And now, I'll never give up." Next, we see Encrid waking up in a recovery room. He wonders aloud, "How long have I been here?" Someone answers, "You've been here for 2 days. I thought you were dead, but you survived." We see that it's Ram, scratching his ear and speaking casually. "You even know what attacked you on the battlefield." "It was a frog, and frogs are extremely powerful. If I hadn't arrived, you would have been killed." Hearing this, Encrid thinks, "I barely managed to defeat that warrior. I guess I really was lucky that Ram showed up, otherwise my death was certain." Ram then says, "Why aren't you saying anything? Don't tell me you've lost your memory and don't even recognize me. Remember, I'm Ram, your best friend." And Creed replies, "Oh wow, I had no idea someone as noble as you is my friend. When did that happen?" Ram immediately covers Encrid's mouth and whispers, "You idiot. What are you doing? There are other people here. Just because I told you my secret doesn't mean you go around shouting it." Encrid responds, "Okay, fine, I won't say it again. But why are you mad at me? Didn't you say you were my friend? And friends don't get mad at each other." Next, we see Crispy entering the room, saying, "Squad leader, remember the supplies I gave you? You owe me 3 times the payment for them. You already know how hard it is to save money in a place like this." Hearing this, Encrid thinks, "I thought he came because he was concerned about me, but all he wants is his money back." So Encrid says, "Oi, Chris, is that the only reason you came here? I think you should leave now, your squad must be waiting for you." Crispy laughs and says, "Boss, don't worry, I'm going, but remember to pay me back on time." Later that evening, we see Jackson arriving. Seeing him, Encrid says, "What do you want now? Don't tell me you've come to collect some old debt too." But Jackson simply gives him something and says, "Don't ask me where I got this from, just apply it to your wounds. It'll heal them quickly." Then Jackson leaves, and Creed looks at the item and realizes it's a healing ointment made of herbs. He thinks, as far as I remember, Jackson never shares his stuff with anyone. So why is he being so kind today? Next, we see the 4th squad member, Odin, arriving at the scene. Odin is crying and praying for Encrid's recovery, saying, "Squad leader, please be okay. It seems like there's a heavy burden on your soul. That's why you always end up in trouble. I pray that all this weight is lifted from your spirit." Hearing this, Encrid responds, "Hey, I'm not dead yet. I think if I just get a bit of rest, the burden on my soul will lift on its own." In the next scene, we see Encrid lying on his bed, thinking to himself, "Everyone in my squad was acting really weird today. They've never behaved like this before. Could it be that they're actually worried about me?" Just then, the 5th member of his squad arrives, munching on an apple. As he walks in and sees Encrid, he remarks, "Squad leader, what are you doing here? Were you admitted to?" This person is named Ragna, a powerful swordsman. As he gets ready to leave, he says, "I was just passing by and happened to see you. Anyway, I'll get going now. Get some rest." Encrid watches him leave, thinking, "There's no way Ragna is concerned about me. He must have come here by accident." The next morning, we see a patient complaining loudly, "When are they going to bring food? I'm starving." Don't they know they should feed their patients on time? Encrid looks at him and thinks, he's a squad leader like me, but man, is he arrogant. All he ever does is complain. He then turns his attention to another patient and wonders, that guy looks like he's from a noble family, but I know nothing about his identity. Just then, they all hear footsteps approaching. A girl enters the room, and Encrid is completely shocked because she's actually a fairy. She's stunningly beautiful, and she asks in a commanding tone, "Who is the squad leader of squad?" No, for 144. Everyone is silent. No one responds. The arrogant patient mutters, "Who is this girl? Is she a fairy or something?" The girl looks at him and asks, "What's your name and which group are you from?" Clearly taken aback, he stammers and tells her his squad and company. She sternly replies, "Didn't your company teach you how to respect your superiors, instead of asking about their race? You should show some courtesy." Hearing that, the man quickly apologizes. Meanwhile, Encrid is thinking, "I've heard about her before. This is the first time I'm seeing her in person. If I'm not wrong, she's a commander in my company." Encrid finally speaks up. "My name is Encrid, and I'm the leader of this squad. Is there a problem?" The fairy says, "I've heard from other squad leaders that your squad is the hardest to manage, but you've handled them exceptionally well. I hope you continue contributing like this." She turns to leave, and Encrid thinks, "She didn't ask me anything. Did she really just come to say that? Something feels off." But right before she exits, she turns to the noble-looking boy and asks, "What's your name?" The boy hesitates, then replies, "My name is Crank." Encrid watches him closely and thinks, why does it feel like he just made up that name? That's probably not his real name. The fairy stares at Crank for a moment, then leaves without another word. Later that night, Encrid reflects to himself, Jackson's medicine really helped. The pain is almost gone. I think I can start training again. He changes into his clothes, but the arrogant patient scoffs at him. Hey, idiot. Where are you going at this hour? Encrid replies, I'm going to train. The other guy mocks him. You're such a fool. You're just a low-rank soldier. No matter what you do, you'll always stay at the bottom. But Crank is silently watching Encrid. In the next scene, we see Encrid standing alone, gripping his sword. He thinks, during my last battle, I used my stepping technique perfectly, but my movements were still too slow. If Ram hadn't been there, that arrow would have killed me. I need to become much faster. Suddenly, a voice interrupts him. What are you doing? Encrid turns around, surprised it's Crank. Crank asks, you're just standing here holding your sword. Are you thinking about something? Encrid responds, I was remembering my last fight, trying to reflect on my mistakes and improve. Crank nods and says, so you're really putting in the effort, but aren't you still injured? Shouldn't you be resting? Why are you pushing yourself with training? Encrid answers firmly, only through training can I become strong, and on the battlefield, only the strong survive. Crank looks at him thoughtfully and says, those are the kinds of things people say when they have a big dream. Do you have a dream? Encrid thinks for a moment, I only have one dream to become a knight. But whenever I tell people, they laugh at me. But he calms himself and raises his sword toward the sky. Yes, I do have something I want to achieve. I want to become a powerful knight, and one day, I will achieve it. Crank is stunned. Seeing his reaction, Encrid says, this is the first time someone hasn't laughed at me for saying that. Crank smiles slightly and says, well, I guess I'll get going. You keep training. He walks away but then pauses and turns back. Encrid, remember this from today. We're friends, and when you become a knight, don't forget about this friend. Later that night, outside the tent, a crowd is gathered. Someone shouts, everyone say it loud. Who's the hero of the battlefield? And the crowd roars back, Cypress. Hearing the commotion, a patient inside the tent wakes up. Encrid's roommate grumbles, don't these idiots have anything better to do? Don't they know there are patients inside trying to rest? I've told them before not to make noise, but they just won't listen. Meanwhile, Encrid is walking around when he runs into Jackson, who asks, squad leader, how's your injury? Encrid replies, thanks to your medicine, I've recovered much faster. I really appreciate it. Jackson smiles, if you really want to thank me, then get well soon and come back to us. That night, Encrid reflects, my entire day went by like this. I had nothing to do. As he lies down, Crank says, good night, Encrid. Good night, Encrid replies, but their grumpy roommate interrupts again. Can't you just shut up and go to sleep already? You do this every night. Ignoring him, Encrid soon drifts into a deep sleep. The next morning, he wakes up to loud shouting outside. Who's the hero of the battlefield? Cypress. The crowd yells again. Encrid thinks these guys were making noise yesterday, too. Why are they doing it again today? And just then, his grumpy roommate screams. Don't these idiots realize there are patients inside and we're not supposed to make noise? I even told them the same thing yesterday, but they didn't listen. Hearing this, Encrid is even more surprised and starts thinking, is this just my suspicion? No, it can't be just that. Determined, he decides to find out the truth. Once again, he heads toward the same area where Jackson had been yesterday. As he reaches, Jackson greets him. Squad leader, how's your injury? Now, Encrid replies, thanks to your medicine, I'm recovering very quickly. I appreciate it. Jackson smiles, if you're that thankful, hurry up and recover fully so you can rejoin the squad. Hearing that, Encrid is stunned. Wait a second. That means someone really did kill me last night in my sleep. He then remembers what that mysterious creature told him. Each new wall will be stronger than the last. Encrid realizes, so another wall has been created, and I'll have to break it again. Later that night, Encrid lies in bed, thinking, our area is heavily guarded. Yet someone still managed to murder me during the night. Who could it be? Could this be the work of an assassin? Then he recalls their company commander. She's a fairy, and fairies have incredibly powerful assassination skills. Could it be that she's the one who killed me? Just as he's lost in thought, a needle pierces his neck. Encrid immediately senses it and is shocked. Then pain begins to spread rapidly from his neck. This is a poison needle. That's why I didn't notice anything last night. And the assassin killed me. So easily, he falls from his bed, struggling to move. I have to wake the others up, no matter what. But then he notices that the patient named Agnes already has a poison needle in his neck. He's dead. Just then, Encrid sees an assassin standing in front of Crank. Damn it. Because of the poison, I can't speak. The assassin draws his sword and stabs Crank in the chest, killing him instantly. Encrid burns with rage. Suddenly, someone slashes through the tent curtain with a sword. Encrid sees the figure and thinks, who is this person? Another accomplice. But when he sees their face, he's stunned. My suspicion was right. It's none other than our company commander. In the next scene, Encrid is thinking, that assassin was incredibly fast. I didn't even feel the needle going. But the biggest shock is that the organization behind all of this is our very own company. If I go against them, they'll destroy me. I feel truly helpless. The last time I felt this powerless was when I stood before that stats man. All I could do was struggle. But no matter what, I must find a way to fight both the assassin and the commander. Later, Encrid checks his wound, while an arrogant patient yells at him, "Hey, are you crazy? What the hell are you doing? Have you lost your mind?" But Encrid ignores him and keeps thinking. That assassin attacks swiftly. But there's no weapon inside this tent that he could use. The patient, annoyed that Encrid isn't listening, gets even angrier. "Hey, low-rank soldier. Do you even know what you're doing? I'm your superior. If I wanted, I could make your life miserable. Apologize to me right now." Encrid replies, "You think you're some big shot. Just shut up and sit down." The man fumes. "How dare you speak to me like that?" At that moment, Crank arrives. "Are you fighting? If you want, I can come back later." Encrid quickly responds, "Oh no, don't worry. You already know this guy. He always causes trouble." Encrid then looks at Crank and thinks, I was right about him. He must be from a noble family. Maybe that's why the assassin targeted him. Maybe that's why he won't reveal his real name to the company. Encrid asks directly, "Crank, what's your real identity?" Crank is surprised. Encrid thinks, "I asked him outright, but I know he won't tell me." Crank sighs, "I know why you asked, but just understand, the time hasn't come yet for me to reveal anything." Encrid responds, "But I think this is the perfect place for you to tell me." Crank smiles, "No, my friend. It's a very long story, and I want to tell it to you when we have some real free time." Encrid agrees, "Fine. Whenever you're ready, I'll be here to listen." Hearing this, the arrogant patient yells, "What the hell? I was so excited to hear his secret, and you just let it go." He turns to Crank. "Since the day this guy arrived, I've been watching him. I'm sure he's a spy from another country, spying on all of us." Crank's face hardens. He starts walking toward the patient, who begins to panic. Crank declares, "No matter what happens, even if I have to give my life for my country, I will never betray it." Encrid watches him and thinks, that fire in his eyes, only a powerful person could speak with such strength. Maybe one day, Crank will tell me everything. The patient, trying to save face, yells again, "Are you trying to scare me? I'm not afraid of you. Don't talk back. I'm your superior." Crank calmly responds, "Oh, I scared you. My apologies, sir." Encrid thinks, Crank may not be a knight, but there's real strength and passion in his words. That's why it's so important for him to stay alive. I must protect him, and myself. Later that night, Crank wishes them good night, and lies down. This time, the loud patient stays completely silent. Seeing this, Encrid thinks, looks like he's finally scared of Crank, and won't bother him anymore. But that assassin will attack again very soon. I need to be ready. Encrid gets up and picks up his sword. The patient sees him and says, "Hey, low-rank soldier. What are you doing? It's the middle of the night. Go to sleep." Encrid replies, "Get up, now. The assassins are going to attack very soon." The patient is shocked. "You really need another round of treatment. You must have hit your head too hard." He lies back down again. Encrid watches him and thinks, he doesn't trust me at all. He's definitely going to die. Suddenly, Encrid feels something. The poison needle pierces his neck again. He's stunned. Shit, that means they were just outside the tent, and in the very next moment, the assassin had already entered the tent at incredible speed. He immediately attacked the patient with a needle and killed him. Then, with lightning-fast movements, he attacked Crane with his sword and killed him too. But in the process, Encrid collapses to the ground, and he dies right there. After this, Encrid opens his eyes again and starts thinking, this assassin is insanely fast, and I can't even report him to the other company commanders because I have no evidence against the commander of my own company. So I'll have to solve this problem myself. We then see a night scene where Encrid is thinking, if I stay prepared to attack them the moment they enter the tent, maybe I can kill them instantly. So Encrid begins waiting for them to appear. But just then, the assassin suddenly stabs Encrid in the neck with a sword, shocking him deeply. Immediately, the assassin rushes into the room and kills the other people too. After that, we see Encrid hiding outside the tent, thinking, I'm right outside the tent, but I haven't seen any movement yet. So, where is this assassin going to attack from? Just then, the assassin throws a needle that strikes directly into Encrid's neck, killing him once again. Next, we see Encrid inside the tent once more, but the assassin again appears and stabs a needle into his neck, causing his death yet again. The scene then shifts to the next morning, where Encrid is furious. He thinks, if this keeps happening, I'll never be able to defeat this person. He'll just keep killing me over and over. If I really want to fight this assassin, I'll need help from a powerful assassin myself. Just then, something comes to Encrid's mind, and he starts to smile. In the next scene, we see him walking towards someone, thinking, if anyone can help me with this, it's him. It's revealed that Encrid has come to see none other than Jackson. Seeing Jackson, Encrid recalls a past memory where someone named Rambo had said, you want to know whether Jackson is stronger than me? Honestly, in terms of strength, he's not stronger. But when it comes to skills, Jackson is far superior to me. If I ever had to fight him, I'd think twice. And yes, Jackson's assassination skills are incredibly powerful. That's the reason he's still surviving so easily on the battlefield. Back in the present, Jackson says, Squad leader, how are you? Have your injuries healed? Encrid replies, yes, I'm fine. Then he asks, Jackson, I wanted to know something. If someone as powerful as you launched a sneak attack on me, how could I survive? Jackson is surprised but responds, to be honest, no one has ever survived one of my sneak attacks. This shocks Encrid, and Jackson asks, why are you suddenly asking me this? Is something wrong? Encrid remains silent, not revealing anything. Seeing this, Jackson says, I get it. You don't want to tell me anything. Fine, I'll explain it this way. If you want to survive an assassin's attack, you need to have eyes on the back of your head. In other words, you need a total of 4 eyes. Encrid is stunned and asks, what do you mean by that? Jackson says, look over there. Someone is dragging a cart with a lady in it. Encrid looks in that direction and sees that the cart is being pulled by someone moving extremely fast. He is shocked, thinking, how did Jackson notice this without even looking? And how did he know there's a lady in the cart? Just then, Jackson says that cart is about to tip over. At that moment, one of the cart's tires breaks and it topples. Encrid is completely amazed and says, how did you do that? Can you see the future or something? Jackson replies, nothing like that. You still don't understand. The 2 extra eyes I mentioned are actually our ears. I sensed the sound of the cart wheels from here and predicted what was about to happen. Encrid is stunned and thinks, Jackson's senses are incredibly sharp, and he's trying to teach me that I need to sharpen my own senses too. Jackson continues, if you want to survive an assassin's attack, you have to sharpen your hearing. You can practice this by focusing on every single sound around you. Jackson then begins to walk away, and Encrid says, where are you going? Aren't you going to tell me anything more? Jackson replies, there's nothing more to explain. You just need to sharpen your senses, and the only way to do that is through practice. I think you should start training right away. We then cut to another night scene. Encrid is lying on his bed, fully focused on every little sound around him. He says to himself, I can hear the fire burning in a container outside our tent. I can even hear the crackling flames. There are no soldiers outside right now, but I need to sense the assassin's movements. Just then, the assassin enters at lightning speed and attacks Encrid's neck again, leaving him in shock. He thinks, damn it, I failed again. The next day, Encrid realizes he'll need even more intense training to sharpen his senses. He heads out of his tent and meets Jackson again. Jackson says, every sound has a direction and travels in the form of waves. You just need to feel those waves. He snaps his fingers and explains, the moment I snapped my fingers, a sound wave was created. Your ears picked it up, and then your brain realized what had happened. You need to focus on every kind of sound. Like this, the more you train, the sharper your senses will get. In the next scene, we see Encrid in a busy area, focusing hard. He notices the sound of flags fluttering in the wind and the footsteps of all the soldiers around. He even senses the presence of a bird nearby. Just then, someone asks, hey Encrid, what are you doing here? It's revealed to be Crane, Crane asks, "Are you doing some kind of training here?" Encrid replies, "Wait, who's Encrid?" Crane laughs and says, "That's because you're my friend. I can't call you Encrid like everyone else. From now on, I'll call you NCR. Isn't that better?" Encrid says, "I don't have any problem with that." Crane then asks again, "What are you really doing here? Are you training?" Encrid says, "I'm just sitting here. What do you think I'm doing?" Crane replies, "I think you're the kind of person who never wastes time. So, you must be training for something." Then Encrid admits, "I've been training hard for the past few days to sharpen my senses, but I still haven't. I still can't sense the assassin's movements. Every single day he comes and kills both me and Crank. Until now, I've achieved nothing but failure. But no matter what happens, I won't give up." At this point, we're shown that Encrid trains every single day to sharpen his senses. It's revealed that so far, Encrid has died 33 times. Yet he still hasn't given up. He keeps pushing himself to get better, because he knows this is a wall he must break through at any cost. Suddenly, Encrid opens his eyes and right in front of him stands Crank. Crank says, "Wow, you actually noticed me. I thought you were just training, but you're incredibly alert. Don't tell me. Have eyes on the back of your head. Your senses are as sharp as an assassin's." Hearing this, Encrid replies to himself, "Maybe the time has come when I can finally fight back against that assassin." We then transition to another night scene. The assassin once again attacks Encrid with lightning speed, aiming to strike with the needle, but this time, Encrid dodges it easily, without missing a beat. He draws his sword and strikes back. The assassin is stunned. He quickly backs off, clearly panicked, and shouts, "Damn, how did you find out about me?" Encrid just smiles and says, "Tonight, you're going to die by my hands." The assassin, now furious, charges forward with a dagger and attacks, but Encrid dodges this too, and thinks, "I knew it. He's an assassin, so of course he knows how to fight. But I'm ready for this." Suddenly, Encrid notices that the assassin had already knocked down Visens with a knee strike, but Crank is still completely fine. Encrid thinks, "Crank even has a sword. But I don't know how skilled he is in battle, so I'll have to take care of this assassin myself." Once again, the assassin attacks Encrid with his dagger. Encrid dodges, but just then, the assassin throws his dagger with great force, and it injures Encrid. At that moment, we see the female commander slash through the curtain and enter the tent. Encrid thinks in panic, "SHT. I can't take both of them on at the same time. I'll have to strike before she attacks me." He rushes toward the commander, sword in hand. She draws her blade, but then the assassin yells, "So you've already called a guard in here? Doesn't matter, you're all going to die." He throws a barrage of poison needles, many of which are headed straight for Crank. But the commander moves instantly and blocks all the needles with her cloak, saving Crank's life. Encrid is stunned by what he just witnessed and thinks, "She saved Crank. That means she didn't come here to kill us. She's here to protect us." Realizing this, Encrid refocuses. "That means I have only one target now, and that's the assassin." He charges the assassin with a powerful attack. The assassin tries to block with his dagger, but the impact knocks it from his hands. Furious, the assassin quickly escapes from the tent and flees. Encrid is surprised and thinks, "Looks like his mission failed. That's why he fled so quickly." Crank then says, "Maybe that assassin was actually here for me." Encrid replies, "Yeah, no, his real target was you." Crank is shocked. "How do you know that?" Encrid answers, "Me and Visens are just small-time squad leaders. No one would ever hire such an experienced assassin to kill someone like us. That only means one thing: you're from a noble family, and the assassin was sent to eliminate you." Hearing this, the commander finally speaks, "You're pretty smart, but that's not exactly a good thing for you." She draws her sword again, and Encrid thinks, "Now that I've discovered Crank's true identity, maybe she wants to eliminate me too. If I want to survive, I'll have to fight her." He readies his own dagger, but before either can attack, Crank steps in between them and says, "Commander, can you do me a favor? I don't want anyone to die because of me tonight." Encrid is shocked, and the commander calmly replies, "Sir, as you command, I will do exactly as you say." Crank then looks at the soldier on the ground and asks, "Is this soldier dead?" The commander replies, "No, sir. He's still alive. If we give him the antidote in time, we can save him." "Don't worry, I'll prepare it right away." Encrid thinks to himself, "She's a fairy. That explains her deep knowledge of poisons. That means she really can save Visens easily." Crank then worries aloud, "If people find out that an assassin attacked me here, they'll start to figure out my real identity, and that could cause huge problems. Encrid replies, you just don't want anyone to find out there was an assassin attack here, right? Don't worry, I have a plan for that too. In the next scene, we see a fire break out inside the tent. Nearby soldiers rush in with water to put it out. Encrid has already carried Visens out of the burning tent. He thinks to himself, this was the perfect way to erase all evidence of the assassin attack. Now no one will ever know what really happened here. Later, we see Crank walking away with the commander. She asks him, sir, you really think that person will keep your secret? Crank replies, I trust him. He won't tell anyone about me. As they walk off, Crank thanks Encrid. I hope that the next time we meet, you've become a powerful knight. And smiling to himself, he adds, but once you do become a knight, don't forget me, okay? The story begins with our hero, Encrid, packing his belongings. He's reflecting on a recent attack. That assassin, I sensed him completely, but I couldn't sense our commander at all. I need to sharpen my senses more. Fully recovered, Encrid decides it's time to rejoin his squad. But before he can leave, someone calls out to him. It's Visnes. Why did you save me? Visnes asks, visibly emotional. I've never treated you well. I insulted you every time I saw you. Why would you still save me? Encrid replies calmly, why do we need a reason to save someone's life? I don't think we do. Shocked by Encrid's response, Visnes mutters, you really are selfless. Someone like you doesn't belong among soldiers like us. Curious, Encrid asks what he means. Visnes explains that many consider their base cursed. Most who go to war from here don't come back alive. Only a few survive. Meanwhile, tension brews elsewhere in the camp. Ragna, enraged, yells about killing Barbarous while Ram, caught in the crossfire, is shoved violently. Enraged in return, Ram lifts Ragna into the air, threatening to break his bones. Their fight draws attention, terrifying nearby soldiers' daughters. Tents collapse from the chaos. The crowd screams for someone to stop them. But Ragna retaliates with a wooden box, striking Ram though it barely affects him. Ram counters with a brutal punch and draws his axe, ready to end it. Ragna, not backing down, pulls out his sword, vowing to tear Ram apart. Encrid observes the scene from a distance, unimpressed. Maybe the base is cursed, or maybe it's just my squad that's cursed. Every time I leave, they fight like this. One day, the commander will fire me because of them. He steps in, shouting, enough. Don't you to have anything better to do than fight each other? Surprised by his return, Ram exclaims, squad leader, you're alive. I thought you were dead. Encrid snaps, cut the crap. If you don't stop, the commander will kick all of us out. The next morning, Encrid narrates that it's been for days since he returned to the squad. They've received no new missions, so he's been focusing on training and honing his senses. Suddenly, with eyes still closed, he senses someone approaching. Jackson. Where are you going? Startled, Jackson replies, you were awake. You sense me. Damn, you've really improved. Encrid smiles. Credit goes to you. Your training helped sharpen my senses. Jackson asks where he's headed, and Encrid replies, I'm fully recovered. Time to resume my training. We then see Encrid doing intense pull-ups, his physique clearly more refined than before. He thinks, I've learned some great skills recently, but I can't just rely on them. I need to strengthen my body too. On his way back, Encrid hears a voice from under a giant boulder. It's Odin, doing push-ups while balancing the massive stone on his back. Squad leader, you're back. How's your health? Stunned by Odin's strength, Encrid watches as he stands up, lowering the boulder. Odin advises him, you should focus more on your body. I heard you were seriously injured by a frog's kick. If you ever feel like you're struggling, come to me, I'll help train you. Encrid is taken aback. He's not just big in size. His strength might be the highest in our squad. He thanks Odin, but remarks, your training looks brutal. Later, we see more chaos in the tent. Ram throws Ragna out of bed, shouting, you lazy mutt. Forgot your cooking today. Ragna, annoyed, grabs his sword and charges at Ram, yelling insults. Ram draws his axe, and the fight escalates again. Encrid and Odin intervene. Encrid sighs, do you have anything else to do besides fight? Ram yells, it's this monkey's turn to cook, and he's refusing. Encrid turns to Ragna, if it's your turn, then cook. Why are you refusing? Ragna grumbles, I was going to, but this idiot started provoking me. As Ragna walks off angrily, Ram tosses him a cloth. Wear this apron. At least your clothes won't get dirty. As Ragna tosses a sweaty cloth at Ram, he mocks, keep it. It still reeks of your sweat. Predictably, Ram gets furious, but before reacting, he sniffs the cloth and says, he's not wrong. It does stink. But it's not all that bad. Honestly. Encrid interrupts their banner. Enough with the nonsense. Just tell me, why are you always fighting with everyone? Could it be you're just bored? Ram laughs. Wow, you really are our squad leader. You got it in one go. I haven't fought in days. I'm losing my edge. Encrid responds calmly. Then let's fight. Come outside and face me. But from now on, stop bothering the others. We shift to a training ground where Ram charges at Encrid with his axe. Encrid blocks the strike, but Ram's raw strength overwhelms him. His power is still on another level. Encrid thinks, trying to hold his ground. He reflects. I've changed since I learned the heart of the beast technique. Even in combat, my heartbeat stays calm. But I'm still not strong enough to match Ram. Ram strikes again with his axe, and once more Encrid blocks it. This time, he counters using his footwork technique. Ram, however, effortlessly dodges and traps Encrid's sword with his axe, grabbing him and slamming him into the ground. I thought you'd improved. But your fighting style's still the same. Ram scoffs. Bruised but determined, Encrid thinks. Maybe he's right. I'm not that weakling who used to train alone by a tree. I'm someone who's died 100 times and stood back up. He rises, declaring, come on, Ram. Let me show you how much I've grown. Ram is surprised. He's weak, sure, but there's something fiery in his eyes. That gaze, it's not normal. He smiles, raising his axe. This time, I'll come at you even harder. Let's see if you can stop me. Just as the fight intensifies, it suddenly begins to rain. Both men pause, surprised by the downpour. Later, back in their tents, Ram grumbles, ugh, I hate the rain. My clothes get soaked, and then I have to wash everything again. Nearby, Odin is seen praying quietly while Ragna sulks in the corner. That's when Kras enters, drenched from the rain, muttering, this place really is cursed. I can never finish a duel without something going wrong. Encrid questions, what do you mean cursed? Kras replies, square leader. Haven't you heard? Everyone says this base is jinxed. In every war, most soldiers from here end up dead. Encrid reflects, that's exactly what Visna said too. But could that really be true? Isn't it just a rumor? Kras settles into his bed and calls out to Encrid. Why are you standing in the rain? Come in before you catch a cold. Encrid replies, I'm fine. I'm training. Surprised, Kras asks. Training, just by standing there. Encrid calmly says, not my body, my senses. I'm sharpening them. Hearing this, Kras exclaims, are you trying to become an assassin now? He turns to Jackson and yells, hey, did you teach him this nonsense? Jackson defends himself. Back off. It's not nonsense. It's a real technique very useful on the battlefield. As the squad continues bickering, Encrid thinks these people will never change. Odin steps in, square leader, if you want, I can help train your body. There are exercises you can do right here in the tent. Ragna, panicking, shouts, please, Odin, no. Your training is brutal. I don't want our squad leader turning into another muscle monster like you. Watching all this, Ram reflects silently. Wait a minute, everyone's focused on Encrid. Could it be they've noticed it too? That he's changing, that he's getting stronger. This is getting interesting. Meanwhile, at the company commander's tent, a meeting is in progress. One officer announces winter is approaching, and the war isn't over yet. We'll need to send out a scout team soon. We've already selected most members, but we're short by one. Any suggestions? A female officer, Fairy, suggests, how about the leader of squad for 144? Another officer scoffs, that guy? From what I've heard, he's completely useless. Why would you suggest him? Fairy responds firmly, you forget weak people don't survive in war. If he's still alive, that means he's strong enough to protect himself. The next day, Encrid stands before the commander. Mom, I have the lowest rank in my squad. Do you really think I'm the right person for this mission? The commander replies coldly, that's not your decision to make. I chose you. Any objections? No, ma'am. Encrid nods respectfully. Later, back in his tent, Kras voices his concern. Why would the commander choose you? Is she trying to get you killed? The scouting mission is important and dangerous. Encrid thinks silently. If she really wanted to kill me, she could have done it before, when she was trying to cover up the evidence. Crank stopped her then. I doubt she'll try again. Ram chimes in, if you're nervous, I can go in your place. Encrid chuckles, you? The most infamous troublemaker in camp. Do you really think they'd ever pick you for a top-secret mission? Fair point, Ram admits, slightly embarrassed. Meanwhile, Odin offers a prayer, May the heavens protect our squad leader. Bring him back safely. Encrid listens quietly, thinking, why does it feel like I'm heading to a death mission, not just a scouting job? Raina volunteers. I can go instead. Encrid shuts it down immediately. Absolutely not. You can't control your temper. Just yesterday, you nearly killed Ram over food. Crass adds. Yeah. Anyone else could go. But not Raina. Raina looks stunned, speechless, just then. Jackson steps forward. Square leader, I heard your mission leads into tall grass terrain. That's the perfect environment to sharpen your senses. Watch every movement closely. Ram explodes in rage, pulling out his axe. Hey idiot, stop teaching him your useless tricks. If you keep this up, I'll split your head open. Encrid thinks, every time I'm gone. They're at each other's throats, even the other squads. Complain. But this mission might be the perfect opportunity, a real chance to grow stronger. As he finishes packing, Encrid reflects, when I first joined this company, no one wanted me in their squad. I was weak, but then I found a few misfits just like me. Somehow, I ended up becoming their leader. And the truth is, they're all far stronger than I ever was. Final scene, Ram and Jackson are just about to fight again. Weapons drawn, but Encrid steps in between them. Will you just stop acting like kids? I swear, if I come back and hear a single complaint about you, there will be consequences. Ram lowers his axe. You're brave, no doubt, but don't be stupid. One wrong swing from my axe, and you could have died. Jackson adds, good thing. You stopped us. I was about to stab him in the chest with my dagger. And with that, Encrid prepares to leave, walking toward the unknown toward growth, danger, and destiny. When I first joined the squad, I quickly realized something. Each member was incredibly powerful. So powerful, in fact, that no other squad wanted to accept them. Why? Because handling these people was nearly impossible. If I wanted to survive, I had no choice. I had to grow stronger fast. The scene shifts. Encrid is now on a scouting mission with a few others. He looks around and counts. 7 of us. All of them are squad leaders, each from higher rank squads. Compared to them, I don't even know what I'm doing here. Suddenly, one of the scouts walks up to him. Hey, I heard you're the leader of squad for 144. That squad has a pretty bad reputation. Always fighting, always causing trouble. If you've got a problem here, speak up. And if you want to fight, I'm ready. He glares at Encrid, adding, just make sure you don't give me any trouble during the mission. I won't tolerate complaints. We're then introduced to him, Andrew, the temporary leader of the scouting team. The rest of the group laughs as if it's a joke. Sir, do you really think this weakling has the guts to challenge you? One says mockingly. I've heard of him. He's only survived this long because the rest of his squad is strong. Without them, he'd be dead weight. Even Andrew laughs, muttering, I don't know what trash like him is doing in our company. Still, he says aloud, if he's got a problem, he can fight me, though I doubt he has the courage. Then, raising his voice, Andrew addresses the group. Listen up. Our mission is simple. Kill any enemies we encounter and capture their leader. The information we extract from him will be submitted to the company, and we'll be rewarded accordingly. Encrid hears all this and thinks, it sounds simple enough, but I don't know why. I've got a bad feeling. This mission might be anything but easy. As the group moves deeper into the forest, they find fresh animal tracks. Andrew grins. These tracks are recent. The beast must be close. If we catch it, we're eating well tonight. Encrid sighs. We're on a critical mission, and all he cares about is dinner. Nearby, a scout named Henry chuckles. This guy really is an idiot. He doesn't even know what kind of animal left these tracks. He thinks we'll catch it for dinner, but then he notices Encrid staring at him. Caught off guard, Henry quickly explains, sorry, brother. I used to hunt in the mountains. Trust me, whatever animal left those tracks is long gone. Even if we ran now, we wouldn't catch it. We learn that Henry is a skilled archer who joined the war due to personal family issues. Encrid reflects, Henry's a good man. He's told me a lot about his past, his skills, his life as a hunter. It's sad. He had to leave it behind for this. That night, Andrew fumes over their failed hunt. Damn it. I thought we'd catch that animal. But no. I need to forget about it. I'm the team leader. My job is to produce results, not worry about food. Encrid hears him rant, but remains silent. The next morning, they reach the edge of a vast grassland. Andrew points ahead. This place is known as tall grass for obvious reasons. But are our enemies really hiding in there? We'll only know once we go in. He rallies the team. If the intel is right, we'll find enemies inside, capture them, Kill the rest and bring the information back. Rewards await. Fired up, the team shouts, understood, leader. We'll follow your lead. But Henry hesitates, whispering to Encrid, this grass is too tall. The enemy could ambush us any second. Are we really going in? Encrid replies grimly. We have no choice. It's an order, we must follow it. The team steps into the tall grass, slowly moving forward. Encrid observes. Andreu is leading from the front. No complaints, no hesitation. Impressive. He's determined to complete the mission perfectly. Suddenly, Henry leans in, voice tense. Encrid, something's bothering me. This grass is perfect for animals to hide in, yet we haven't seen a single one. Isn't that strange? What if there's a predator in here, so deadly that even other animals avoid this place? Before Encrid can answer, something flashes past him, a leopard. Bolting through the grass, shocked, Encrid instinctively grabs Andreu and yells, get down now. At that moment, arrows rain down from above. The squad members fall instantly, arrows piercing their skulls. Andreu, horrified, watches them collapse. Suddenly, dozens of enemy soldiers emerge from the grass, ready, waiting. The squad panics and turns to flee. But it's too late. The enemies begin their assault, killing most of the team in moments. Encrid runs as fast as he can, but he soon realizes he's surrounded. More enemies emerge from all directions. One archer fires at him, he senses it and dodges in time. But then, more arrows come. Too many. I can dodge a few, but not all of them. Dozens of arrows pierce his body, and Encrid falls dead. Scene resets. We cut to Andreu, barking orders once again. What did you say? You think we shouldn't go into the grass because it might be dangerous? Are you crazy? Or do you want me to kill you myself? Just follow the damn orders. Encrid sighs internally. There's no point trying to convince them. I have no choice but to follow orders again. And once more, we see the group entering the deadly tall grass. Encrid whispers, this time, I'll change everything. Despite trying to escape from the other side, I was immediately surrounded by a horde of enemies. They trapped me, and I was killed once again. In my next attempt, I chose a different route, but even there, I was met by a barrage of crossbowmen. Arrows rained down on me, and once more, I'm at a swift end. Thankfully, due to my ability to endlessly revive, I kept returning and testing different escape paths. But no matter which way I went, soldiers were everywhere. Some wielded crossbows, others held spears. Escaping this place seemed almost impossible. Cut to the next scene. We see Encrid, severely injured, struggling to remain on his feet. Around him, enemy soldiers spread out, shouting, search the area, there might be more hiding here. Kill anyone you find. Encrid, breathing heavily, thinks to himself, I'm badly wounded. I won't last much longer. But before I die, I need to know, what exactly are they guarding so fiercely? As he looks ahead, his eyes land on an enormous flag planted in the center of the area. The sight of it shocks him. Why are they protecting this flag with such intensity? What's so special about it? But before he can investigate further, a soldier rushes in and slashes him down with his sword, killing him again. In the following scene, we shift to Andreu, rallying his squad. We must catch the enemy. Rewards await us once the mission is done. Meanwhile, Encrid stands back, watching everything unfold, and thinks, I've checked every single escape path in this place. I couldn't flee through any of them. Soldiers are everywhere. But even if I somehow manage to escape, everyone else here will die. That leaves only one option. I must break through the wall itself. As the squad prepares to move, Andreu notices Encrid standing still and shouts angrily, Hey, you trash. What are you doing? Didn't you hear my command? Did you forget that I'm your leader and you're supposed to follow me? One of the other soldiers tries to calm the situation, saying, I know you're frustrated. Our leader's temper is flaring, but we don't have a choice. He's our temporary commander, and we have to follow his orders. But Encrid retorts firmly, I know exactly what you mean. But even childhood has its limits, and this guy is just plain foolish. The soldier is shocked. Even understand what you're saying. Encrid pushes him aside and declares, What I mean is I'm done following his orders. At that moment, Andreu draws his sword. How dare you disobey me, are you? Challenging my authority. Encrid assesses the situation. If I fight alone, I'll only be able to take down a few enemies. But if I win these soldiers over, our combined strength could help us all survive. And so he boldly steps forward and says, You're right. I am challenging you. From now on, I will be the one giving orders. Andreu, enraged, scoffs. Do you seriously think trash like you can defeat me? Encrid studies his opponent. Andrio is highly skilled, one of the few who survived this long in the field. Henry is a great marksman, but he falls in close combat. Then there's that powerful soldier who might be Andrio's personal guard. But even he won't last much longer in this chaos. Andrio prepares to fight. You're just a low-rank leader. Let's see if you can actually back up your words with strength. Encrid thinks carefully. He's proud. Definitely a noble. But why is a noble like him here in the army? Could his family have been destroyed? Maybe he's trying to earn honor in war to revive his family's name. Andrio sneers. Why are you just standing there? Draw your sword. You want to lead us. Prove you're worthy. I'm not like you, trash born from the gutter. Encrid smirks. You sure talk a lot. Let's fight. I won't even need a sword to defeat you. Furious, Andrio charges at him. You'll regret this. You should have drawn your blade when you had the chance. But Encrid thinks to himself, if I beat him using a sword, no one will recognize my strength. But if I defeat him with my bare hands, they won't have a choice. Andrio swings his sword at full force, but Encrid blocks the strike with his elbow. Then, with a single, powerful blow to the chest, he sends Andrio crashing to the ground. In agony, everyone stares in stunned silence. Henry gasps. What? He beat Andrio with just one hit. Encrid stands tall and declares from now on, I'm the squad leader. You will follow my orders, but if any of you have a problem with that, step up and challenge me. No one speaks. Everyone remains silent. Good. Encrid thinks, I've proven I'm worthy to lead them. Now, they'll follow me without question. In the next scene, the group enters the tall grass. One soldier mutters, he's far stronger than I thought. No wonder he's kept this squad under control. Encrid suddenly asks Henry, have a dream? Henry, surprised, responds, actually, I do. Once this war is over, I want to marry a beautiful girl and open a flower shop. Encrid nods. Then you'll have to survive this. Only then can you make that dream come true. He turns to another soldier. And you? What's your dream? The man replies, my wife just gave birth recently. I couldn't be there. So once the war ends, the first thing I'll do is go see her. Another soldier says, I want to start a business. And another answers, I just want to survive. Nothing else matters. Then, Encrid looks at Andrio and asks, what about you? What's your dream? Andrio is caught off guard. But he answers, my dream is my mission to restore the honor of my family and bring it back to glory. Encrid pauses. Whatever your dream is, the first thing you need to do is survive. Only then can any of this become reality. So let's give this everything we've got and fight with all our strength. For the sake of our dreams, everyone around him is moved. Even Andrio thinks to himself, he's right. If we want to achieve our dreams, survival comes first. Encrid then turns to Henry and says, shoot an arrow over the grass straight ahead. Henry hesitates, but Encrid, there's nothing there. Encrid replies firmly, I don't like repeating myself. Just do it. Henry immediately fires an arrow into the distance and it strikes a hidden enemy soldier right in the head, killing him instantly. Shocked, Henry gasps, what the? There were enemies hiding in the grass. Encrid shouts, Andrio, follow me. We're launching an attack now. Andrio stares in disbelief. I can't believe this. Now even I have to follow him. The scene ends with Encrid charging in, stabbing an enemy soldier with precision. The battle has begun, and now, a new chapter of leadership and survival unfolds. There's only one rule to survive this chaos skill before you're killed. That's exactly what Encrid had decided. Before the enemy could even raise their weapons, he took them down. The soldiers nearby were in shock, staring wide-eyed at the sudden appearance of this lone warrior. Who is this guy? Where did he come from? They muttered among themselves before they could act. Andrew, fighting alongside Encrid, eliminated another enemy with swift precision. Just as a spear-wielding enemy charged at Encrid, Andrew's loyal guard intervened and took the attacker down instantly. Encrid silently observed all of this. I knew I couldn't make that man follow me. But if Andrew follows me, then that man will have no choice but to follow too. Our chances of survival have just dramatically increased. Suddenly, a soldier cried out in panic, alert everyone. The enemy has attacked, but it was already too late. Encrid's entire squad had arrived. He gave one brutal command, leave no one alive. Kill them all. What followed was a bloodbath. Encrid and his team launched a coordinated assault, cutting down enemy soldiers one after another. During the chaos, Encrid reflected on what he had learned after repeating this day countless times. There's something strange about this grassland. A beast roams here. The soldiers spread out while chasing it, leaving their main post vulnerable. That's our advantage. We then see a beast darting past a soldier, who tried to impale it with his spear. But before the beast could be harmed, Encrid rushed in and killed the soldier himself. This beast, it's helped us more than once. The soldiers are scattered, and that gives us the perfect opening to eliminate them one by one. But why is a beast like this even here? I've never seen anything like it before. Still, there's no time to ponder. More enemies await. After clearing the area, Henry turned to Encrid. Leader, all targets in this area have been eliminated. What are your orders now? Encrid responded firmly. We move forward. Kill any soldier you see. But as they advanced, the strange beast kept following Encrid. He pressed forward into the thick grass with his team, thinking, after repeating this day so many times, I know the position of almost every soldier. Taking them down won't be difficult. Without hesitation, he ambushed a hidden soldier, slicing his throat in one clean motion. Then, barking commands, he shouted, Everyone, turn right. We can't go straight. A guard protested. Why not? We should just move forward. Why are we turning? Encrid shot him a glare. Do as I say. Ahead of us are 30 enemies with crossbows. If we walk into their range, we'll be showered with arrows. They changed direction just in time. More enemy soldiers were taken out, and Andrew fought fiercely, using every ounce of strength he had. Meanwhile, Andrew's guard watched in concern. He's completely exhausted. If we keep fighting like this, we'll all collapse. We need to find a way out fast. But Encrid had no intention of stopping. We keep moving forward. There's no time to rest. The guard was stunned. Are you insane? There are too many of them. If we push forward, we'll all die. But Encrid stayed resolute. If you want to survive, follow my orders. Just then, Andrew and Henry froze in shock. Henry shouted, Guys, what the hell are you doing? To their horror, one of their own guards had placed a sword against Encrid's neck. Stop pretending you're our leader, the guard spat. You're just a temporary replacement. If you want to die, go alone. We'll find our own way out. Encrid didn't flinch. You clearly don't understand. It's far too late to turn back. If we show our backs now, they'll stab us before we even notice. So what you're saying, the guard asked bitterly, is that we have no choice but to follow you. Encrid calmly pushed the sword away from his neck. Listen carefully. I'm just trying to survive, just like all of you. If you want to leave, go ahead. I won't stop you. His words caught everyone off guard. Silence fell. Encrid's thoughts turned inward. I always saw my father as a hero, but when our family crumbled, he lost himself to alcohol. It was my mother who gave me strength. We flashed back to his mother's voice. My son, I know we've lost everything, but you're the last heir of our name. I want you to rebuild what we lost. I believe in you. Back in the present, Encrid looked around at his team. Trust me, we will survive. Andrew stepped forward. Leader, I believe in you. I'll follow your every command. The guard looked stunned. Sir Andrew, what are you saying? This could get us all killed. Andrew replied, firm and calm. Right now, I'm not your leader. He is, and we'll follow his orders. Encrid knelt on the ground. Everyone, get down and follow me quietly. No one moves until I give the signal. One by one, his team obeyed. Crawling through the grass, the sun is about to set. Soon, all the enemy soldiers will return to their camps. As darkness crept in, soldiers around them started retreating to their bases. Encrid's team was shocked by how many enemies were nearby, hidden in every direction. The best move now is to stay put. We wait until they leave. Eventually, the area began to clear. Encrid whispered to himself, everything's going exactly according to plan. But now, we've arrived at the most dangerous part. His men whispered anxiously, did we really do all this just to walk straight into the enemy's main base? Yes, they had made it to the heart of the enemy camp. I've been here before, Encrid thought, but I was alone. I couldn't survive then. Still, I learned something strange. They're protecting a flag. I don't know what it is, but they use beast bones in some kind of ritual. We'll find out soon enough. Let's move. The team quietly advanced, hiding behind a tent. A guard whispered in disbelief. Are you insane? You want to set these tents on fire? Do you even realize what will happen? Encrid turned to him. You haven't even told me your name. What is it? Mac, the man replied. Encrid narrowed his eyes. Mac, you're dangerously disobedient. Someone like you shouldn't even be part of this team. Mac's eyes burn with anger. As tension hangs in the air, Mac speaks in frustration. Are you deliberately trying to make me angry? But Andrew calmly replies, Max, just stay quiet. Follow exactly what he does. Without hesitation, Andrew begins trailing Encrid, while Max thinks to himself, the only reason I'm here is to protect Andrew. No matter what, I have to bring him back alive. But a looming problem plagues his mind. The stars are hidden behind thick clouds. In this pitch-dark night, finding the right path seems impossible. Suddenly, Max notices something alarming. Encrid has slashed through a tent with his sword. Shocked, Max mutters, is he insane? Even the slightest noise can get us all caught. Yet, when they enter the tent, there's no one inside. Max is stunned. We've been around this camp for a while now, and we haven't run into a single soldier. And somehow, this guy knows exactly which tents are empty. Is he just reckless or is he more experienced than all of us? The flag mysterious. They advance silently. The group nears a series of flags heavily guarded. Encrid raises a hand, signaling everyone to stop. We wait here, he orders. Andrew thinks back. I tried to reach this flag before. Every time I got close, a swarm of soldiers attacked. I never even got the chance to touch it. Why are they protecting it so fiercely? Encrid confirms their suspicion. The guards are concentrated here. They're protecting this flag. But what's so special about it? Max begins to suspect something. How did he know about the flag in the first place? Wasn't he just added to our squad? Suddenly, a memory clicks. Wait, didn't the commander herself recommend him? Could it be that she shared confidential info with him? His mind spirals into realization. No wonder he took command so easily. Maybe he's the strongest one among us. The diversion plan. Encrid breaks the silence. We'll split into two teams. One will act as bait. The other launches the real attack. He warns, being bait is dangerous. Choose wisely. Max surprises everyone. I'll do it. Shank and Andrew are stunned. He's been whining the whole time, and now he volunteers. What's gotten into him? But Andrew smiles faintly. If Max is the bait, he'll survive. I believe that. Moments later, Max creates a diversion by throwing a stone at a group of soldiers and running off. Alarmed guards shout, "Who is that?" after him, as soldiers chase Max. Andrew seizes the opportunity. He grabs a fire lamp and thinks, whatever happens today, I'm surviving it. Suddenly a powerful figure appears, attacking Andrew with terrifying speed and slicing the fire lamp in half. Andrew is left speechless. Who is this guy? I didn't even sense his presence. I've raided this base before, but I've never seen someone like him. As their eyes lock, Andrew realizes he's not just powerful, he's impossible. Encrid versus the monster's mysterious enemy. Snarls, who are you? How did you get in? Andrew remains calm. Took you long enough to show up. Meanwhile, fire spreads across the tents. Soldiers panic. What's going on? How did our tents catch fire? A guard yells, Sir, someone set fire to the camp. Forget them. The vice commander shouts. Put out the flames, protect the flags. If we lose them, our entire plan is ruined. Andrew smirks. Just like I thought. The fires. Distracting them. They won't chase us. Not now. With that, Encrid charges at the powerful soldier, unleashing a devastating attack. But the enemy blocks it effortlessly and counters instantly. Encrid dodges just barely. They clash again, sword versus sword. He's not just strong, he's fast. I can't even find an opening. The battle intensifies. Encrid throws a dagger, it's blocked by hand. Suddenly, the opponent strikes back, slicing across Encrid's stomach. Blood spills. Shocked, Encrid thinks, I didn't even see him move. When did he hit me? The enemy growls. Did you think you could defeat me with that weak attack? Encrid breathes heavily. No, I can't beat him like this. But I've fought so hard to get here. I've died 100 times to reach this point. I thought the wall was the soldiers. But no, he's the real wall. And if I die now, everything I've done will be meaningless. Then the soldier asks, why are you smiling? Encrid smiles confidently. No matter how strong he is, I'll beat him. The enemy swings again, aiming to finish Encrid. I'll slice you to pieces and feed you to my dogs. But Encrid counters, deflecting and retreating. Their blades clash in a flurry of speed and skill. Encrid throws another dagger, it's caught. Then chaos erupts. The flames of escapee fire is out of control. Screams echo through the camp. Sir, the fires reach the flags. If we don't stop it, the flags will burn. Hearing this, the vice commander halts his duel. The flags must be saved. He snarls, backing away. A superior yells, are you insane? Protect the flags before everything's lost. He looks back at Encrid. Why? Why is he not afraid of me? He knows I could kill him. Why do his eyes show no fear? Finally, he says, I don't know who you are, but we will meet again. And next time I'll kill you. With that, he vanishes into the chaos. Encrid watches him go, thinking, I thought he was the final wall I had to break. But maybe I've already broken it. Regroup and retreat. Andrew arrives, breathless. Squad leader, we did just what you said. We need to get out now. Encrid nods, sheathing his sword. Let's move. They flee the camp. Soldiers are too distracted by the fire to notice them. But Encrid suddenly realizes 2 of the bait team are missing. I knew being bait was risky, but I didn't expect to lose them. Max shouts, Leader, this is our only chance, let's go. Encrid agrees, you're right. Let's run. But Henry, injured and in pain, struggles to keep up. Soldiers spot him. Just as they move in for the kill, Encrid, Andrew, and Max strike swift and lethal. The enemies fall. No one stops. Encrid yells, keep moving. A way out. Henry says, there's a mountain range nearby. If we reach it, we can escape through there. A soldier beside him warns, what if the path isn't safe? What if they catch us? Henry replies, trust me, squad leader. I know these terrains like the back of my hand. Encrid nods. Then lead the way. They reach the mountains, exhausted but alive. Encrid says, we've been running all night, but thanks to Henry, we made it. Looking back, he adds, I don't think they're following anymore. We can finally head home. As the group stealthily moved through enemy territory, Max grew irritated. You're doing this on purpose to piss me off, he muttered, glaring at Encrid. But Andrew quickly intervened. Max, be quiet, just follow his lead. Without hesitation, Andrew trailed behind Encrid, while Max reminded himself why he was here. Not to argue, but to protect Andrew. No matter what, I need to bring him back alive, he resolved. But the weather was not in their favor. Clouds covered the stars, leaving Max disoriented and unable to navigate. Suddenly, he saw Encrid slice through a tent wall with his sword. Max was stunned, as he lost his mind. A single sound could alert the guards, but to Max's shock, the tent was empty. Not a soul inside. What the hell? We've been sneaking around here all this time and haven't encountered any soldiers. And this guy, he knows exactly which tents to pass through. Is he crazy, or just far more experienced than we are? They moved closer to a cluster of flags, the enemy's core territory. Encrid suddenly signaled for everyone to stop. We wait here, he commanded. Andrew recalled. Every time I've tried to get near those flags before, I've been ambushed by swarms of guards. I never even got close. It didn't make sense. Why were these flags so heavily protected? Max, observing Encrid's confidence, thought to himself, he knew about the flags. He knew where the soldiers would be. But how could it be? He's been given secret intel by the commander herself. Then it clicked. He remembered they'd been told the new team member, Encrid, was handpicked by the company commander. Maybe he was entrusted with classified information none of them had. Is that why he's calling the shots now? Is he the strongest among us? Encrid finally spoke. We'll split into 2 teams. One creates a diversion, the other attacks. The bait team takes the bigger risk. Decide now. I'll be the bait, Max said without hesitation. Andrew was surprised. He's been complaining this whole time, and now he's volunteering. Maybe he's more reliable than I thought. Encrid continued. I've divided the squads. I'm confident we'll end this today. Soon, the operation began. Soldiers were distracted as someone threw a rock at them. It was Max. Who the hell is that? Catch him, he's a spy, shouted one of the guards as several soldiers gave chase. Meanwhile, Andrew reached for an oil lantern nearby and steeled himself. No matter what happens, I must survive today. But out of nowhere, a powerful warrior descended upon him, striking down the lantern with a sword. Flames erupted. Andrew staggered back, stunned. Where did this guy come from? I never sensed his presence. I've attacked this base before and never seen him. Just by looking into the warrior's eyes, Andrew knew. This man is a monster. Beating him might be impossible. The warrior asked coldly, who are you? How did you get in here? But Andrew smirked and said, took you long enough. The warrior frowned, confused. Suddenly, flames began to engulf the tents. What's happening? Why are our tents on fire? The enemy soldiers panicked. Another yelled, sir. Some intruders started the fire. The commander barked back. Forget the intruders. Save the flags. Andrew grinned. Just as I predicted. Their priority isn't us, it's the fire. This is our chance. With a burst of speed, Andrew unleashed a powerful sword strike at the elite warrior. But before it could connect, the warrior dodged it effortlessly. Andrew was stunned, and suddenly noticed a deep gash in his stomach. He hadn't even seen the counterattack. What the? I thought he only blocked my hit. When did he attack me? The warrior, sneering, growled. Did you really think that pathetic swing could defeat me? Encrid clenched his jaw. I've struggled too much to get here. I've died countless times at the hands of these soldiers. I thought the real obstacle was the guards, but this man, he's the true wall. His thoughts were cut short as the warrior prepared another strike. I'll rip you apart and feed your body to my dogs. He snarled. Encrid responded with full force, sword clashing against sword. But the warrior parried easily, launching a devastating counterattack. Encrid dodged again, barely keeping up. He's not just strong, his movements are lightning fast. He's not giving me any opening. Still, Encrid fought back, throwing a hidden dagger. But even that was blocked with ease. Just then, the chaos of the fire escalated. The flames have reached the flags, someone cried. We need to put it out before everything's destroyed. A commanding voice roared, Vice Commander. What the hell are you doing? Protect the flag. It's the priority. Hearing this, the powerful warrior stopped his assault. He turned, frustrated, and stared at Encrid. Why? Why isn't there fear in his eyes? Even though he knows I could kill him. Finally, the warrior spoke. I don't know who you are, but next time I'll kill you. With that, he retreated into the flames. Encrid watched him go, whispering to himself. So he wasn't the wall after all. Maybe I've already broken through it. Just then, Encrid arrived, shouting, Squad leader, we did exactly what you said. Now let's get the hell out of here. As they made their escape, Encrid noticed something grim. 2 of the bait team hadn't returned. I knew this role was dangerous, but I didn't think we'd actually lose people tonight. Squad leader, Max shouted. They're still distracted with the fire. Now's our chance. Encrid nodded. You're right, everyone, move. But Henry, injured and in pain, struggled to keep up. A few enemy soldiers appeared, targeting him. Without hesitation, Encrid Mac and Encrid rushed back and took them down with clean strikes. To the neck. Don't stop, Encrid yelled. Keep moving, Henry, panting, shouted. There are mountains nearby. If we make it there, we can escape easily. Are you sure that path is safe? Someone asked. I know these terrains, Henry replied. Trust me. Encrid nodded. We trust you. Lead the way. They dashed through the darkness, eventually reaching the mountains. Safe at last. We've been running all night, Encrid said, catching his breath. Thanks to Henry, we crossed the mountain with ease. I don't think they're chasing us anymore. It's time to return to base. Encrid stood in silence, briefly questioning himself. Did I just walk into trouble by agreeing to this? But before he could overthink, Raina said bluntly, to tell you the truth, Encrid, you don't even know the basics of swordsmanship. The way you fight is completely flawed. Raina continued, now listen carefully. From this moment on, forget everything you've learned about fighting except for 2 things. Heart of the beast. The technique you learned from Rain, and that stepping technique you picked up recently. Everything else you've practiced since childhood, erase it from your mind. Encrid was stunned. What are you saying? If I forget everything, how will I even fight? Raina replied firmly. Those techniques of yours are garbage. If you keep using them, you'll never become strong. From today, you only need to remember what I teach you. So, are you ready for that? In his mind, Raina was already assuming Encrid would back out. There's no way he'll agree. That way, I won't have to teach him anything. But to his shock, Encrid responded without hesitation. I'm ready. Can we start today? Rana's eyes widened. What the? Did I just trap myself? He thought, and asked again. Are you really sure you're ready for this? Yes, Encrid nodded. Tell me when we begin. Raina looked at him, thinking, this guy really isn't normal at all. He then noted, that sword you use, its weight is short. Hold mine for a while. I'll teach you the basics. Encrid grabbed Rana's sword. Some say a warrior should never let go of his own blade. It's their pride. That's nonsense. Raina cut in. Forget that crap. Focus only on what I teach you. Raina adjusted Encrid's stance. Maintain your balance. Put a little more strength in your right foot, and loosen your grip. You're holding the sword too tightly. Suddenly, Raina launched a surprise attack at Encrid with lightning speed. Encrid blocked it just in time, completely caught off guard. What the hell was that? Why did you suddenly attack me? Raina shrugged. I've never taught anyone before. I don't even know how to teach properly. You'll have to figure things out on your own from what I show you. Encrid grumbled internally. He's just like Rain. That guy also doesn't know how to teach his own techniques. Raina snapped. Loosen your grip. Hold it too tightly, and you'll injure your hand. We see a quick training montage. Raina continuously attacking while Encrid blocks each strike. Along the way, Raina keeps correcting his posture, grip, and balance, eventually. Encrid collapses to the ground, exhausted. Raina says, "That's enough for today. I've shown you quite a bit of the basics," but in his mind, he's frustrated. Encrid's swordsmanship is truly terrible. I thought I could teach him easily, but he sucks at mastering even simple forms. Can he really learn my sword style? But to his surprise, Encrid gets back on his feet, panting, but determined. "I think I can keep going a little longer. Can we do one more round?" Raina stares at him, wide-eyed. "You're insane," he mutters, drawing his sword again. "All right, let's go over everything I've taught you so far." Just then, Ram shows up, yelling, "I was wondering where you two idiots had disappeared to. Never thought I'd find you both together like this. What are you even doing? Come on, eat and get ready." Encrid, still catching his breath, asks suspiciously, "Why are you so well-dressed?" "Don't tell me. We've received a summoning order." Ram replies grimly, "You're right. It's time for the war to begin again. And this might be its final chapter." Scene change. Battlefield Heth. Next scene shows the entire army gathered in a massive field. The ferry commander stands at the front, issuing orders. Encrid and his squad are also present, ready for battle. Raina, eyeing Encrid, thinks, "I told him not to use his old methods again. But if he doesn't fight properly, he could die today. Looks like I'll have to babysit him on the battlefield. I won't let him die so easily." Encrid, meanwhile, observes the enemy army. They've arranged a very strange formation. But where did they get all those flags from? He sees that each enemy flag is accompanied by a group of soldiers. Just then, a figure from the enemy side says ominously, "Let's begin." Suddenly, thick fog engulfs the battlefield. The ferry commander is shocked. What is this? Have they activated some kind of spell? If this really is magic, it'll make fighting incredibly difficult. The soldiers panic. What's going on? We can't see anything. Is this fog? Why is it so thick? Encrid, too, is unnerved. Where did this fog come from? I can't even see what's in front of me. Just then, a strange sound echoes through the mist. Soldiers begin shouting. What was that? What's happening? Encrid yells, "Raise your shields, we're under attack by arrows." Suddenly, a rain of arrows descends from the sky, piercing through the fog. Many soldiers fall, killed instantly. The commander manages to defend herself, shouting, "Shields up, everyone, protect yourselves." At that moment, we see the person who triggered the spell laughing maniacally. "You destroyed our flag last time, but did you really think we couldn't make another? I've created a new one using the blood of countless beasts," he adds with a grin. "This fog, it's not ordinary. It's your death." He turns to another man. "You failed to protect the flag last time. Let's see if you can do it now." That man turns out to be the voice commander. He replies, "Don't worry, this time I'll protect it for sure." And then, thinking to himself, "I know we'll meet again, but this time, I'll kill him." As chaos erupts on the battlefield, Encrid narrowly dodges an incoming strike. Suddenly, a voice shouts from behind, "Duck." It's Rania. From the front, someone curses, "It's Rem." But despite being so close, none of them can see each other through the dense fog. An arrow lands near Encrid, and he feels his breath hitch. His limbs begin to stiffen, his feet refuse to move. Panic sets in. He realizes he can't use any of the techniques Rania taught him. As Rania had warned, if the new style doesn't take root, he'll have to fall back on the old one. But Encrid knows, doing that now would be a death sentence. He needs to act fast. With no time to think, Encrid charges straight into the fog. A spear from the enemy finds its mark, wounding him. The enemy assumes it's over. But then, they see it, a smile on Encrid's bloodied face. It's unsettling. In an instant, Encrid strikes back, ending his foe. And in that moment, he returns to his teachings. He realizes something important. Rania may be a genius with the sword, but he's a terrible teacher. What comes naturally to Rania is nearly impossible for him to explain. "Just swing the sword downward," Rania once said. Encrid knew it wasn't mockery. That's just how Rania is. "Where should my weight be?" Encrid had asked. Rania had no answer, but Encrid figured it out through listening, observing, and relentless practice. He replayed every posture in his head, over and over again. Slowly, Encrid began to recover his rhythm. He started blocking arrows, even though his movements were still rigid. But rather than retreat, he prepared to risk death again, knowing that only through near death could he learn. And so it went, day after day. By the 30th day, his movements became fluid. Rania noticed, "Your footwork flows now. Where did you learn that?" he asked. At last, Encrid was ready for the basics. There are 3 primary offensive techniques: cutting, stabbing, slashing for defense. One must use the edge of the blade. If the sword is of high quality, even the sides can be used effectively. The shortest path between him and his enemy is called the line of attack. Wielding a sword isn't just about swinging, it's about blocking the enemy's line and extending your own. Encrid had to build an image of his enemy in his mind and learn to strike that illusion with precision. The next time he entered battle, he sidestepped an incoming spear effortlessly. More enemies closed in behind him, 3 of them. But now, everything felt different. He began to grasp more techniques, parrying, diagonal slashes, and with every move he improved. Sometimes he fell, sometimes he bled, but every defeat brought growth. And then, one day, he faced Rania with everything he had learned. This time, he didn't just survive, he won. Rania stood stunned. In front of him was no longer the clumsy student he had once pitied. What he saw now was a completely different man. Encrid had transformed, and there was nothing more left for Rania to teach. Encrid had hit the boundary of his natural talent. There was nothing more left to unlock within him. But even as Rania yelled behind him, shouting at him to stop, to slow down, Encrid dashed forward with everything he had. His body now moved like a feather, light, swift, and untethered. Attacks that once left him panicking, he now dodged midair, dancing through danger with instinct and grace. This was the path. This was the road he had to walk if he ever wanted to become a true knight. Even if it meant enduring the greatest pain the world could throw at him, he felt joy in the suffering, a thrill that bordered on madness. It was addictive, so intoxicating, it felt like he might lose his mind. And then, in the heat of battle, a memory surfaced, Rania's voice, echoing from the past, asking him, "Do you really want to learn how to wield a sword just like every time before?" Encrid didn't hesitate. No matter how many times he'd have to die, he would die again and again, as many times as it took to reach his goal. He was ready. Even death couldn't shake his resolve. Encrid had hit the limits of his natural talent, no matter how much Rania yelled. Encrid dashed forward. His body now moved light as a feather, nimble and fast. He could now evade attacks midair with ease. This was the path he had to walk to become a knight, even if he had to endure unbearable pain. He found joy and excitement in it so much that it felt insane. He remembered the moment when Rania had asked him, "Want to learn the sword?" Just like always, Encrid had said yes, no matter how many times he had to die. He would do so if it brought him closer to his goal. Later, Rania started to realize Encrid was far more skilled than he thought. Was he pretending all along to fight like a second-rate mercenary? He already knew all the basics. Rania felt it was no longer about training. What Encrid needed now was real field experience. That day, Encrid had probably lived through the same battle 100 times now. He decided to put everything he learned into action and test how far he could go. He cut through his enemies like they were butter. Then he picked up the same knife that had killed him countless times before and used it to hunt down hidden foes. The enemies were confused, and in an instant, Encrid disappeared. They thought they were safe until he reappeared and cut them down from all sides. One of the enemies fired a crossbow bolt at him, but Encrid had learned from Rania, "Read their eyes, close the distance with your feet, finish the fight with your hands." Encrid simply smiled. Fighting didn't feel the same anymore. It felt faster, sharper, almost refreshing, and he wanted more. Dozens of enemies now stood before him, all pointing their crossbows. One of them stepped forward and said, "You made it this far. Congratulations. But this is where it ends." Encrid took a step forward and said, "Then let's fight like men with swords." The enemies, frightened by his confidence, immediately fired without delay. Suddenly, he found himself in a strange place. A boatman looked at him and said, "Are you insane? You walked into your own grave." Encrid woke up again. He wondered why this boatman always cursed him whenever he died. Rem asked, "Why does your face look so blank?" Encrid fell into thought. Rem always noticed the spell flags first. The enemy formations lacked any real strategy. They were only guarding those flags. To understand the truth, Encrid asked Rem, "Do you know anything about spells?" Rem asked back, "Why do you need to know?" Encrid casually said, "Just asking." Rem then said, "Do you know the difference between magic and a spell?" Encrid replied, "Just that magic is more common." Rem explained that spells need a medium, some kind of specific object or item. Without a medium, a spell won't work. Magic, however, can be cast freely. That's when Encrid understood fog appears because the spell is activated using the flag as a medium. Destroy the flag, and the fog disappears. He asked Rem, "Does your tribe use spells too?" Rem replied that he had seen a few spells, but true spellcasters are rare. Most are warlocks or hex casters. Suddenly, Encrid left again. He had to train. Rania observed that Encrid knew all the basics. Their backgrounds were similar. But did he know about the Uniac sword technique? About 500 years ago, there was a prodigy named Leon's Uniac, born on a sword farm. When 12 raiders attacked the farm, the boy killed them using only a fireplace poker. He had lost his parents at a young age and began training with the sword. A noble heard his story and adopted him. But though gifted, the boy was cursed. His strength began to fade at the age of 10, and by 12, he was completely paralyzed. His greatness ended too early, but his dream of refining swordsmanship never stopped. At 20, he classified all sword techniques into 5 categories: righteous, elaborate sword, heavy, strong sword, flowing, confounding sword, fast, swift sword, gentle, parrying sword. He rewrote the history of swordsmanship. The Uniac family became the empire's most renowned house, even today. These techniques are the foundation across the empire. From them, new branches emerged like the Western swift sword, Eastern chess, and Leon's own technique, the Northern heavy sword, which might be more useful than Rem's technique. Rania told Encrid to focus on one single point: his and his opponent's swords. Forget everything else. He even demonstrated it before Encrid could grasp it fully. Rania moved with such speed and ferocity that it almost took off his head. Encrid realized he barely escaped death. Just then, Rem appeared and asked, "Are you trying to kill the squad leader?" Rania replied, "People learn best when they're on the edge of death. I'm just helping him." Rem shot back, "If his head's not intact, he won't learn anything. Do you even know how hard it was for me to teach him Beast Heart?" Encrid thought both of them were terrifying teachers. Rem knew Rania came from the northern fort, home to brutal warriors. Rania knew Rem was from the southern barbarian tribe. They both felt like fighting, but Encrid said, "Enough. We're not here to fight. We're on a mission." As they walked away, Rania said, "If you can maintain the same level of focus you have right when you're about to die, you can do anything." Encrid realized this technique was similar to Beast Heart. It erases the fear of death. Some things were different, but he had to experience it for himself now. He had made up his mind not just to learn, but to destroy the flag. He knew it would be easier if the whole squad helped, but he wanted to go first himself until he fell. Focusing on a single point really worked. He had died many times simply because he wasn't prepared. To avoid surprise attacks, he trained his hearing to survive the battlefield. He learned Beast Heart, but now, focusing was becoming difficult again. Rania told him, "You should have felt the blade slow down at the point of contact." Encrid still didn't understand. Was Beast Heart interfering? Rania said, "Forget everything. Just watch your opponent's sword. Only then can you predict their movements." Encrid knew he couldn't fight with the fear of death lingering in his mind. He asked Rania, "How do you do it?" Rania replied, "I've always been able to. It's easy for me." Encrid realized Rania wasn't going to give him any useful advice. He'd have to figure it out on his own. He would keep practicing concentration, but for now, his top priority was to bring down that flag. He had to minimize casualties and charge indirectly. As soon as the fog fell, he shouted, "Get down," and gave the command, "Raise your shields." That one order saved many lives who otherwise would have died in the next instant. That day, he had repeated the same battle 300 times now, even with his eyes closed. He could sense where the attack would come from. He killed the first enemy before they even realized. The next fell immediately after. The rest pushed forward, but they had stepped into a meat grinder. Because Encrid wasn't holding back anymore, their commander warned them to prepare. Encrid smiled. He could see the fear on their faces. He charged with such intensity that he cut through every blade in his path and reached the flag, slamming it down. It took him 10 days to reach that point, but to his surprise, the fog still didn't clear. The flag was destroyed. So what was happening? The enemies surrounded him and attacked. One of them said, "You've been deceived." That's when Encrid understood there was only one real flag. The rest were decoys. Now he had to find the real one. He charged again. He had a 1 in 5 chance of picking the right flag. Once more he shouted, "Raise your shields." But this time, some people didn't respond. Maybe they didn't hear him, or maybe they were confused. They were struck down by arrows. Encrid wondered, why didn't they listen this time? Maybe the timing was off. He needed to give them a moment to breathe. 3 days later, he destroyed the second flag. Another fake dot. It took him 5 more days to bring down the third also. A fake? Then 7 more days for the fourth. Again, a decoy. He died once more. Now, only 2 flags remained. Encrid thought maybe the real one was the furthest away. This time, he gave everyone clear orders. Even Rem joined him. "Are you insane?" Rem asked. Encrid knew the real flag was far. He couldn't afford to tire before reaching it. He told Rem, "Handle the enemies ahead, and advanced slowly. Even without armor, Rem held them off well. After spending an entire year repeating the same day, Encrid knew this day would be the end. As he moved forward, his sword suddenly clashed against someone else's. Mitch. God has answered my prayers, Mitch said. I wanted to be the one to kill you. Encrid didn't recognize his face. Who are you? He asked. Mitch, angry, replied. How could you forget? It happened just a few days ago. But for Encrid, time didn't pass like, who are you? Mitch growled, irritated, but then he smirked, saying, the moment my sword pierces your chest, everything will come back to you. Encrid suddenly sprang backward and changed his stance. With a swift, precise strike, he forced Mitch to retreat. Mitch was shocked. This isn't the same boy from before. He was faster, sharper, far better, but Mitch still believed Encrid was only trying to match him step by step. Encrid didn't care. He pushed forward again. Blades clashed. Strikes collided. Now Mitch could see at the master basics, the refined technique. Every deflection from Encrid was filled with explosive power. This wasn't a rookie anymore, he had become a dangerous fighter. Mitch pushed him back, but Encrid redirected his blade effortlessly. Now Mitch had to give the fight his full focus. One moment of distraction, and it would all be over. So he let go of thoughts, of outcomes, of training. All that remained was the cold steel in his hand. That raw dedication gave Mitch the edge. He deflected Encrid's strike and drove his blade straight into Encrid's chest. The battle ended in an instant. Lying there, Encrid remembered it was Mitch, the one who stopped the flag at the tall grass battlefield. Mitch introduced himself, platoon commander of the Great Scott unit. Encrid returned the gesture. He was now the scout commander of the Lelia Kingdom. The enemy began to surround them. Mitch warned them. This boy's specialty is hiding. The others looked at Encrid and whispered, he seems different. But when Mitch looked into Encrid's eyes, he saw a smile. Because Encrid finally understood. It was never about the fear of death. What he had always longed for was a real rival. Someone who would drag every last ounce of skill out of him. Mitch didn't like crazy people like that. Drawing his sword, he declared, this day ends now. The next day, Rania explained, concentration means the feeling right at the moment of death. Encrid gave it a try, just a little focus. Rania thought he might give up the training. As always, Rem summoned them for battle, but Encrid's energy was completely different now. He said nothing, just walked forward. Rania could see the energy radiating from his body. He smiled and thought, today's warm-up needs to be more intense. The battle began. Once again, Encrid shielded everyone from the volley of arrows, shouting, duck. Everyone survived. But he didn't stop there. He turned to Rem and said, come with me. Rem frowned. Are you insane again? Rania jumped in. I'm coming too. Rem snapped. Do you have an arrow in your head? Rania grinned. If I don't move now, there will be. Encrid charged forward. The two of them slashed through the enemies ahead. He followed the same path and found Mitch once more. But this time, he recognized him. Smiling, he said, good to see you. Again. Mitch was surprised. You came looking for me. Encrid nodded. Fighting you. I fell in love with it. Mitch blinked. No one's ever said that to me. Does it bother you? Encrid asked. Mitch shook his head but drew his sword. Again, Encrid tried once more to fall into that same deep concentration, where only the blade existed. But he failed again. Mitch pierced his chest once more. You lost so easily, he said. Did you really think you'd win just because you had some skills? As Encrid died again, he realized my attitude was wrong. What I want can't be forced. He needed to merge with the fight naturally. So he repeated the day. Lost again. Repeated again. Lost again. Until one day on the 18th attempt he saw the blade coming. On the 28th, he entered deep focus in just a second. And on the 48th, he finally gained real insight. Rania had tried to teach him this feeling. And now, for the first time, Encrid truly saw the sword for what it was. Its beauty stunned him. He stopped Rania's strike effortlessly. How did I assimilate it so easily? He asked aloud. Now, he could no longer hear Rania's voice. Total concentration meant complete control of both body and blade. His power and technique had developed. So far, they no longer resembled his former self. Rania asked, where are you going? Encrid answered quietly, to meet the platoon commander. I have to clear today. When he met the ferry commander, she asked what he wanted. Encrid explained what he saw during the recon mission, soldiers from the Espen Kingdom calling in. Old man a spellcaster. She leaned in, intrigued. Tell me more. He told her everything she needed to know to win the war. The next time the fog came, every soldier was ready. Encrid's team charged without a word. He now placed his hopes on the commander's strategy because it was time to break through. As soon as Encrid stepped forward, he yelled, "I know you. I've wanted to fight you from the start. Today I will defeat you." He struck hard, but Mitch sidestepped and slashed back. Encrid deflected it cleanly. Mitch realized I'm in danger now. He barely blocked the next move. The two swordsmen clashed in a deadlock. "Have you been hiding your true skill this whole time?" Mitch asked. "Maybe," Encrid replied with a faint smile. "What's your name, Encrid?" Mitch deflected another attack. "I'll remember it. No need," Encrid said. "I'll keep reminding you." When Mitch raised his sword, Encrid's eyes locked onto it. He noticed something. Mitch's entire weight was on his right foot. That meant the next strike would be diagonal. He was right. All those repeated battles, every death, every lesson had led to this moment. Mitch struck. Encrid struck back. Both blades stopped just short of each other's throats, but Encrid didn't stop. He followed up with a fierce slash. One Mitch barely dodged. Mitch had expected to kill him in just a few moves, but now he was the one struggling. He couldn't take it anymore. He knew his flowing sword style was defensive, but now he had to attack. He slammed his sword into the ground and swung it upward in a massive arc. The wheel cut. Encrid knew this technique. It had killed him many times before, but this time he was ready. He parried it perfectly. Mitch was stunned, though his face showed no emotion. Mitch came from the Harrier House, one of the 3 great houses of the Espen Kingdom, known for their brute strength. They recruited only the most skilled swordsmen. Mitch had come from a small region, but earned the Harrier name. At 15, he defeated 2 adult knights. At 18, a champion swordsman. By 22, he was the strongest fighter. In the city, he rose to become one of the top 3 fighters in the Greyhounds. Few dared fight him. Watching others train, he used to wonder, why push yourself so hard when my entire body is already skill? That was his mistake. Now all he could do was fall back as Encrid's blade drove straight into his chest. Mitch, covered in blood, cursed himself. "You're weaker than me in strength. Even your sword skills are inferior. Yet, you won." Encrid just nodded. That was a fact. As Mitch collapsed, he thought, if only I'd trained more. What could I have become? As Encrid's sword neared his throat, Gran leapt between them and saved Mitch. He was quickly carried off the battlefield. Greyhound growled. "We didn't expect this much damage from one man, but his punishment won't be light." Encrid knew he was surrounded now. He was exhausted, but fear had no grip on him. To him, this only meant one thing. It was time to break through the next wall. It was time to shatter the flag. "Fire," came Greyhound's order. Arrows flew through the air like rain, but Encrid didn't flinch. Dodging them was now impossible, so he chose to endure them one by one as he charged ahead. Greyhound wasn't just a symbol of leadership. He was a warrior himself. Encrid felt the sheer power in just one strike from him. To win this fight, he knew he would have to die countless more times. But for now, there was only one goal: destroy the flag and escape. With that thought burning in his mind, Encrid hurled a knife at the flag. Even the slightest damage to the spell seal could break it. Greyhound noticed and rushed in for an attack. But Encrid rolled to the side and launched a second dagger, this time hitting the flag dead center. Elsewhere, Commander Fogme Fairy remained steady in her position, but her thoughts boiled with frustration. "I asked for more troops. Got nothing. This kingdom is completely rotten." They had placed the weakest man in command of the front lines. "At this rate, we're doomed," she thought. But then, as if on cue, the fog lifted, and in a flash, she darted into the enemy like lightning. Finally, she had her chance to turn the tide. "Charge," she shouted, rallying the soldiers. With renewed energy, they screamed in unison and surged forward. The fog was gone. Hope had returned, but the question lingered in her mind: who broke the spell? There was only one person who could have. Encrid, battered, bloodied, barely holding on. Encrid stood alone. "I messed up," he thought. "I thought the fog lifting would bring my team to me, but no one's here." His strength was fading. Rem was still battling hundreds of enemies. His true target, the spellcaster. He wanted the caster's head elsewhere. Rania had completely lost direction and accidentally drew his sword on a commander. Realizing his mistake too late, enemies laughed at Encrid. "You crawl like a dog, you'll die like one." Just then, from the grass fields, a puma leapt out and saved him, striking just before a volley of arrows could rain down. The beast tore through enemies, shielding Encrid. "He's protecting me?" Encrid wondered, but the puma growled back, "Out of here. The one ahead isn't normal." Greyhound was growing weary. "That's enough," he muttered. But suddenly a voice rang out. Take a break, Encrid. Now I'll show you what a real man looks like. Venz had arrived. He charged at Greyhound with full force. But Greyhound swiftly deflected his sword and slammed him to the ground. Venz, bruised but defiant, shouted to his troops, fire! Arrows flew but they didn't slow Greyhound at all. A moment later, the puma lunged from behind with its claws. Greyhound was caught off guard but slammed the beast unconscious with the hilt of his sword. Then, he turned to strike at Encrid. Encrid could still see the blade coming, but he didn't have the strength to parry. So, he used a technique Midge had once taught him. Let the blade flow past you. And that's exactly what he did. Greyhound was stunned. That was Mitch's technique. For the first time in the heat of battle, Encrid felt joy. Venz launched himself again. But this time Greyhound didn't counter. Because right in front of him, an entire army was approaching. He had no choice but to retreat. But before leaving, he turned to Encrid and snarled, I won't forget your ugly face. One day, I'll make sure you fall. He ordered his troops to pull back. Venz then turned his attention to Encrid's bloody body. He began preparing to evacuate him. Even the puma, despite being unconscious, was to be brought along. Encrid, barely hanging on, insisted on taking the beast with him. Venz commanded the troops to retreat, and slowly Encrid lost consciousness. Fatigue and blood loss finally overtook him. In the haze of dreams, the boatman returned. You've won again. You really are stubborn. But tell me what keeps you going, even in this state. Encrid had made it through another day. Slowly, his eyes opened. Voices murmured around him. Some were shocked. How did he survive all that? Others said. He left without saying a word. Someone praised his fast recovery. The moment Encrid moved his hands, he felt something soft. He looked over. The puma, the same one that had saved him, was curled up next to him, asleep. Rem appeared and said, finally awake. We thought you were done for. Encrid sat up, still groggy. What happened? Jackson brought water. You lost a lot of blood, he said. Chris added, thank the medic. He healed you just in time. Otherwise, permanent damage. You're lucky, he smiled. Lady Luck's watching over you. Encrid looked down. Water spilled slightly. He realized he must have fallen right on top of the puma after the battle. One by one, everyone began leaving the room relieved that their commander had survived. Encrid, too, felt a rare peace. He had made it again. But Rem stayed behind, watching him. Encrid thought, is he interested in the puma? He asked. Do you want to touch it or something? Rem replied bluntly, I don't care about that animal. I want to know, how did you figure out the fog was a spell? Encrid hesitated. Should I tell him the truth if I reveal my ability? He might not believe me, but I can't lie either. He's been a loyal friend. He deserves trust. I had a friend, he was a settler, Encrid said. He used to talk about these things. I just guessed, based on what he said. What he didn't say was that the settler was Rem himself. So technically, it wasn't a lie. Rem stood up. Fine, if you don't want to tell me, don't. But don't get too caught up in spells. As he left, Encrid asked, and what were you doing during the fight? Rem replied, I went to the guy who set up the flags. Didn't like his face, so I blew it off. Encrid imagined the scene. In his head, that's when Grace arrived with a bag of 20 zars, trying to bribe the puma. The beast lunged and startled them. Careful, Encrid warned. He may look small, but if he gets mad, he'll tear you apart. Grace laughed. I just want to make 10,000 krona. Henry had told him, a beast with blue eyes comes from a lake that holds the earth's energy. Each claw is worth 10,000 krona. New ones keep showing up. Encrid was stunned. A single brown coin equals 1 krona. So 10,000 is more than gold coins. I've never paid that much to anyone. While Encrid was unconscious, his side had won the battle, but the momentum had died down. Both sides had retreated. Now, everyone was recovering from their wounds. Encrid thought, will I ever be able to parry like that again? Maybe. I'll never know. Jackson showed up later. Don't stretch too much. Your body's still healing. I'm not doing anything heavy, Encrid replied. Just moving a little. Rania agreed. Yeah, that's all you should do. Rest. You'll heal faster. Then Rem bumped into Rania. You trying to pass your lazy habits onto the commander. And standing in the hallway's a dumb move. Rania immediately grabbed his sword. Come on, let's fight, Encrid asked. Tell me something. I used a technique I never practiced, only saw. Is that normal? Rim said, if you were using Heart of the Beast, then you must have sensed the enemy's movement. You could feel the direction of the sword, the force behind it. Rania added, you've already learned the basics. You've done single point, concentration, That's why you could see more. But honestly, he chuckled, you got lucky. At your level, that technique usually works after 100 real fights. That's when it hit Encrid. The day he had just lived wasn't just one day. It had been hundreds of days filled with struggle, failure, and the will to rise again. What he learned hadn't come from just watching. He had earned it through pain, defeat, and sheer determination. Talent or not, he would grow stronger because he wanted to. As Rania and Rem kept bickering, Encrid smiled. You two, you're both going to duel me. Rem laughed. People call me crazy, but you're real madness. Rania looked him over. You're in the shape, and you want to fight. Just then, the fairy commander stepped in. No one's dueling, she declared. The commander's condition isn't stable. Then she turned and asked, who broke the spell? Her eyes locked on Encrid. He had expected this question, but she was the company's chief commander. Yes, I did see the spell, Encrid replied. I was on patrol duty, and I've had some experience with them before. The fairy commander's eyes widened. There were 5 decoys. How did you spot the real one? I just guessed, he replied simply. She stared at him for a moment in silence, then turned around without another word, accepting his answer. Encrid raised a brow. Was that all you came to ask? The commander looked back and said, No. I came to see your face. Seems like fate wanted us to meet. Encrid couldn't help but wonder to himself. What is she talking about? Meanwhile, Rem and Rania were starting to suspect something romantic between Encrid and the commander. Rania was particularly surprised. Does Encrid even have that kind of charm? Quickly, Encrid dismissed their assumptions. It's not like that. But then Grace walked over, grinning mischievously. This guy is perfect to open a host bar. I'll build the best one for you, just say yes. Encrid told him to shut up, but inside he was confused. Why would he even say that? She's our superior. This is awkward. Changing the subject, Grace shared some serious news. A squire from the Night Order had arrived. That shocked Encrid. A member of the Scarlet Cloak Night Order is here. The battalion they were part of was called the Cypress Division, named after an old knight. It was a branch of the Scarlet Cloak Order. Knights were considered the most skilled fighters across the continent. But the Night Order was more than just knights. It also included squires, servants, and students. When a squire proved himself, he could become a pro knight. Beyond that, the true knights existed, warriors who had surpassed human limits. Squires rarely fought without their knights, so if one had come alone, he was likely on the verge of becoming a pro knight. Suddenly, bells began to ring. Everyone readied for battle. Grace looked around and muttered, Looks like they've been waiting for this guy to show up. Rem turned to Encrid. You need rest. Seriously. But Encrid shook his head. My wounds are fine. I want to see that man fight. Seeing the determination in his eyes, Rem smiled. All right, let's watch him in action. We're not doing anything major right now anyway. Soon after, everyone was lined up in battle formation, but no one was more excited than Encrid. Today, he would witness what it truly meant to be a knight. The squire moved alone toward the enemy. Seeing him, the enemy forces began preparing their arrows, but the squire didn't flinch, not even an inch. Fire! The enemy commander shouted. Thousands of arrows were launched at him, but he waited calm and unmoving until the arrows were almost upon him. Then, with a sudden burst of air beneath his feet, he crouched low. Rania, watching in awe, murmured, This is true determination. Like lightning, the squire dashed through the rain of arrows, storming into the front lines. Spears and shields couldn't stop him. With a single strike, he wiped out the enemy's entire front line. Encrid was both amazed and terrified. The enemy commander had nothing left to say, nothing worth saying. The squire moved without mercy, cutting down enemies, left and right. Terror gripped the enemy forces. Why should we die for nothing? They cried, beginning to flee. But the enemy commander screamed, Hold the line. The next moment, his head was flying through the air. Now, the squire stood atop the neck of the commander's fallen horse, dominating the battlefield. Everyone who watched had a different reaction. Rem simply said, No surprise. They don't call them war specialists for nothing, Rania thought. I should have at least been able to stop him. Jackson noted. They had 5 chances to stop him. Their commander was just stupid. Grace was just glad it would all end quickly. Now we won't have to do much. Meanwhile, Encrid was deep in thought. Is that the Regresses sword? No. It's a blend of heavy and swift techniques. The Regresses sword specialized in intricate techniques that trapped opponents with calculated moves. The heavy sword was pure brute force, cut down anything in your path. The confusing sword played mind games and set up ambushes. It was a branch of the Valen sword. The swift sword focused on speed and flowing motion. The soft parry style emphasized counters while defending. Encrid could see both heavy and swift techniques clashing within that squire's fighting style. He took a deep breath and calmed his mind. The truth, he realized, was that all techniques stemmed from the same source. If he could find the common ground between the 5 styles and treat the sword as a living thing, maybe he could master them all. He closed his eyes. The army charged. Rem and Rania watched as Encrid sat in deep concentration. Rem smiled. Our squad leader is about to overcome something big. No one disturb him. Encrid knew that understanding something didn't change the world. Understanding was just a wall sign of how far there was to climb. Soldiers ran past him, rushing into battle, but Encrid remained still. He was climbing the mental obstacle within. Screams, steel, and blood filled the air, but Encrid continued his ascent. The enemy began to fall back. Victory cries rang out. Encrid had made it to the top of that inner mountain. Now he knew the war was coming to an end. The next season would be busy. In the Principality of Espen, 3 powerful families ruled. Espen was furious with the sovereign empire for breaking the gentleman's agreement of no knights. Grey Wolf, whose real name was Harrier the Almighty Atkins, explained that the empire had made a frog into a general just to have an excuse to send in knights, but now they had no excuse for themselves. Espen cursed the frog general who had acted on his own. Atkins added, frogs are like that. Whatever the reason, they do what they want. If Spellale into which they had poured so many resources had worked, none of this would have happened. Espen lashed out at the Grahams. Their punishment was certain now. Harrier knew things wouldn't, and well for them. Encrid and his squad returned. The war was over. They reached the border guard post, a remote fortress city on the edge of the kingdom. Because of Espen's proximity, 1 in every 5 people here was a soldier. A ceremony was held to honor their will and determination. Encrid was called up first, for he was the one who destroyed Espen's spell ale. As he stepped onto the podium, many scoffed at him. He's weak. Must have done something with the boss to get this reward. Suddenly, a voice rang out from the crowd. Shut up. Another familiar voice added. Don't talk trash about him. He's above all of you. He's a real man. Encrid received a handsome reward, quite a large amount. Kremet was quick to ask, what will you do with all that money? Booze. Women. Both? Encrid replied, neither. I want to open a store. I want the best blacksmith in the city. Trace followed him all the way to the smith. He was going to spend all that money on just one sword. If you don't like the standard ones, just grab something from the battlefield, Trace suggested. Those work too. Encrid laughed. They work, but not well enough. And for Encrid, well enough simply wasn't enough. Encrid no longer cared what people thought of him. If he wanted to become a knight, he had to prove himself, especially his skills. Now, the time had come for him to take the soldier promotion exam. He was ready to leave behind the life of a foot soldier. Chris was surprised. You were never interested in promotions before, he said. Encrid replied firmly. One can't stay in the same place forever. Grace understood, but added, we'll need time to set everything up. In Narilla, the ranking system for soldiers was strict, designed to boost morale. Those whose power surpassed the ranking scale were considered special grade. Rank changed not just how others saw a person, but also how that person behaved. To get promoted, a soldier had to duel with 3 fighters from the target rank and defeat all of them. Everyone else watched, as if it were a grand betting match. Chris was the master of this event, urging the crowd to place their bets. Encrid's first opponent was arrogant. He mocked him. You're a low-rank soldier aiming for mid-tier. You got an award for your squad, and now you think you're a hero? Encrid knew the man was skilled, an agent from a renowned mercenary group. Chris's betting box overflowed with coins placed on the agent. On Encrid's side, there was only a single bronze coin. People were stunned. Who placed it? Grace smiled. You'll find out after the fight. Just watch. Until now, Encrid had grown stronger through death after death. But this time, there was no risk of dying. So he had only one chance to get it right. He focused his entire being. No distractions. Just pure resolve. He knew had this been earlier, he would have lost, but not now. Now, he would fight as if his life depended on it. The agent charged. Sword raised. Encrid considered using a parry move he had recently learned, but before he could act, his instincts took over. With a single stroke, he disarmed his opponent. The agent panicked, afraid for his fingers. Encrid said nothing. He ended the match by striking him with the hilt of his sword. How could he be so weak? Encrid thought. From the crowd, a gambler yelled at Chris. You must have bet on your commander. Chris, still in shock, said, "I just tossed in a coin out of pity." Encrid wondered, did the agent lower his guard on purpose? Even so, why did the fight end so quickly? A mid-rank shouldn't be this easy. There was no time to think. The next opponent had already entered. One win didn't mean victory. Encrid recognized him. He was from the heavy infantry, one of the strongest fighters on Bat Island. The soldier twirled his spear to distract, then thrust it forward. Encrid sensed it was a trick, but still sliced the spear tip clean off. The opponent's face said it all. He had nothing left. Encrid delivered a powerful kick to his stomach. Second fight over. The crowd was stunned. The fights won effortlessly. Chris shouted, "Next challenger." No one came forward, not even the ones who had mocked Encrid earlier. Andrew thought, "I can beat him. Mac and I practice every day." But Mac said, "Don't go. He's so far ahead now. Even I can't win." Andrew quietly sat back down. Suddenly, someone shoved the trash talker forward. It was Rem. He'd been listening. Now he wanted to see if the man had any courage. The trash talker was sweating with fear, but still stepped into the ring to prove himself. Encrid had struggled every step of the way, first against the stabber, then the assassin, then Mitch Harrier, and the squad members who constantly killed him. Every day had been nothing but pain. But now, looking back, he realized just how far he'd come. His first mentor had warned him, "Never underestimate your opponent." Back then, it seemed irrelevant. He never imagined he'd be strong enough to look down on someone. The trash talker, visibly nervous, asked, "What's that expression on your face?" Encrid was just happy. He had become so strong that he could completely overpower his opponents. He raised his sword and attacked. In Narilla, only strength commands respect. And with this battle, Encrid would show everyone just how strong he had become. Within a few strikes, his opponent's sword shattered. Encrid paused, refusing to cut him down. He had already proven himself. The trash talker lost all control and wet himself in fear. From that day, everyone started calling Encrid by a new name, Spellbreaker, the one who shattered the flag. Andrew stood up and shouted, "Spellbreaker." The crowd joined in. The same eyes that once looked down on him now honored his strength. Grace congratulated him. "You're officially a medium-rank soldier." But Encrid said, "It's not time to celebrate yet. I'm going for the high rank." Grace was stunned. "You're still climbing." Just then, a man stood up. "You're quite interesting." Everyone noticed the eagle patch on his uniform. He was a border guard, one of the elites who directly served the crown, known as the Border Butcher, a title he had truly earned. He walked up to Encrid. "I'd like to duel you." Just friendly, not serious. Rem knew this wouldn't be easy. Encrid also understood. Border guards like greyhounds were possibly stronger than even Harrier. But a question crossed his mind: if there's no fear of death, can I still improve? He accepted the duel. The man was surprised. "So fearless? He's even more interesting than I thought." The lower-rank soldiers now cheered for Encrid. "In infantry, real kings are born." The Border Butcher scoffed. "Fools. I'm infantry too. But this pride, it needs correction." And with that, he launched a fierce attack. Encrid saw his blade clearly and deflected it. The butcher was shocked. That level of concentration in a foot soldier. He tried to grab Encrid. "It ends now." But Encrid caught his hand midair and countered with a powerful sword strike from above. The Border Butcher realized, "If this hits me, I'm dead." He dodged at the last second and counterattacked, but Encrid was ready. He caught the tip of the blade and delivered a solid kick to his gut. He had dropped his main sword. Now his opponent rushed in to finish it. But Encrid pulled out a short blade and attacked from the exact angle needed. Victory was inches away for both of them. Just then, the ferry commander appeared and with a single strike, stopped them both. Encrid noticed her team already standing behind the Border Butcher. "Of course no one lets their commander die." Rem smiled. "That was lucky," the man said. "It was just a duel. Overreact again, then there'll be punishment." But what concerned Encrid the most was what happened during the fight. He had missed several of his opponent's movements. "If this had been a real fight, I'd be dead." The man sheathed his sword. "I didn't expect much, but I can't ignore your strength." He introduced himself. "Taurus, platoon commander of the Border Guards." Encrid introduced himself and shook his hand. The crowd was stunned. Platoon commanders held special rank. That meant Encrid was at least a high-rank soldier now. The celebration began, but Encrid's mind was elsewhere. And that's what Taurus liked the most. "We'll meet again," he said. "For now, goodbye." That same day, Graham, the 1st Company commander of the Heavy Armored Infantry, invited Encrid to join his company. It was his third invitation. First from the 2nd Company, then the 3rd. maybe because he had broken the spell well. Graham explained, the first company is the core of this battalion. This is a big deal, you should know that. Encrid understood. If he accepted, he would become elite. But even then he declined. Graham asked, is this because of the 4th Company's commander? I can talk to him if needed. Encrid smiled. That's not the reason. Seeing his honest expression, Graham didn't ask further. Instead, Encrid made a suggestion, send Rem to your company. Graham laughed. No one wants to deal with that madman. But thanks to him, we won the last battle. He should stay where he is. Chris was stunned. You're getting so many offers. Should I start packing? Encrid just smiled. I'm not going anywhere. Everyone around him is stunned. Why would Encrid reject such massive offers? At this point, wherever he goes, he'll be treated like a VIP. Just then, Taurus returns. He has something important to ask Encrid. He wants him to join the border guards. Remy realizes that this is the biggest offer Encrid has ever received. Taurus had already sensed it during the battle. Encrid has a hunger for tough fights. If you come with us, we'll push you to your absolute limits, Taurus says. That's the only way your full potential will come out. The rest of the teammates remain silent, as if they already know Encrid is going to accept, and he does. If it's about going to a place where training feels like hell, then there's no better offer. I don't just want to reach my potential, I want to surpass it. The weather shifts ominously, a bad sign for Rem, though he's from a tribe. He hates the cold with a passion, so much that he wants to fight it. He shouts, Encrid, bring a hot stone now. Encrid can't help but think out on the battlefield. Rem is a lion, but here he acts like a helpless kid. Orden, meanwhile, pushes Rem to train just to warm up his body. If you don't warm up, how are you going to fight? But Rem refuses to let go of his blanket. Orden turns to Encrid and asks if he wants to join the training. Encrid declines. He's on patrol duty right now. As he steps out, Rem yells from behind, don't forget the hot stone. Encrid is surprised, just a little cold earlier, and now it's full-blown winter. He heads to a busy zone where other guards are already patrolling. 2 guards are introduced, Jack and Bo. Today, the 3 of them are a team. Something about their names feels oddly familiar, but Encrid lets it go. Jack proudly says, you're working with the Spellbreaker today. Bo adds, I heard you were promoted. Lightning fast from low rank to elite. Encrid responds humbly, just lucky, I guess. Jack says he wants to see Encrid's true strength, proposes a light duel. Encrid agrees. After walking a bit, Jack grumbles about their bad luck, having to patrol in such horrible weather. Encrid silently agrees. It's freezing there. Walking through the marketplace when suddenly, a hooded figure emerges from the shadows and swiftly moves toward Encrid. He assumes it's just a child, but then the figure pulls out a dagger and stabs him in the chest. Before Encrid can react, Jack and Bo quickly shield him from the crowd, pretending he's just drunk. It was all a setup. All 3 were in. On it, the hooded attacker sneers, surprised. Greyhounds never forget a target. Encrid notices the attacker is half Fi. It must be someone Espen sent. Likely because he broke the spell. The assassin brutally pulls out the dagger and leaves Encrid to die. Jack says, Rutten, we're done here. Mission accomplished. Suddenly, everything clicks for Encrid. These were the wounded Recon soldiers Grace had mentioned. All of it was just a trap to get to Espen. Now it's 1 versus 4. But, he tells himself, I will win. He collapses, bleeding out. He dies right there. But soon, he wakes again, jolting up so fast it shocks Rem. But Encrid was only reacting with more energy. Outside, Orden is showering in freezing water, steam rising from his body. Encrid asks, what kind of training is this? Orden explains, in winter, it's essential to keep your body warm from the inside. That way, you're always ready, no matter the condition. Encrid asks him to teach it, because he couldn't even react earlier during the ambush. Now he understands why Jack and Bo were walking so close together. He plans to eliminate them first, then face Rutten. Orden cheers him on. Your muscles will scream if you don't maintain that position. Jack and Bo reintroduce themselves. But this time, Jack is impressed. You don't even have a coat on. Encrid just replies, I'm training. Thanks to Orden's harsh methods, Encrid's body is now ready. He knows Rutten will appear soon. Before Rutten can get close, Encrid attacks the others. One evades and draws his sword. Encrid knows Rutten will either run or attack. Either way, he needs to deal with these 2 first. But Rutten has another trick. He throws a knife from a distance, striking Encrid straight in the vital point. He hit from that far. Encrid thinks, even through the crowd, the precision is terrifying. The blade pierces his heart. It was faster than sound. Now, Encrid faces the ultimate challenge, to fight both near and distant enemies at once. But he feels thrilled. How would he prepare if Rutten gets close? He'll stab if he stays far. He'll throw daggers. This wall isn't complicated. He just needs a way to cross it. Encrid continues training, despite believing it might kill him. Ragnar and Rem watch him, wondering if it really is as hard as he claims. Meanwhile, Jackson enters the cabin and finds everyone collapsed, stretching on the floor. Panther gets the strange feeling he saw something he wasn't supposed to, so he quietly walks away. Encrid knows he must figure out a way to stop Rutten's deadly dagger. The speed and precision are far beyond any ordinary weapon. Jackson approaches and explains, "That's a whistling dagger." Encrid asks, "Why is it called that?" Jackson replies, "Because when thrown, it makes a whistling sound. And if thrown by an expert, the target doesn't even realize what happened." He advises Encrid to stay far away from it, but Encrid reflects, no matter how good Rutten is, if he can block it beforehand, Rutten won't succeed. He attacks. The others again, he evades. But this time Encrid grabs him and holds him like a shield in front of himself. But Rutten doesn't care. He throws 3 daggers at once. One hits Encrid, one B, and one strikes Jack right in the neck. Encrid is stunned, throwing 3 blades at his own allies. Maybe Rutten never considered them teammates at all. Rutten crouches and looks directly into Encrid's eyes. "You're pretty determined," he says. Encrid replies, "Good thing greyhounds never forget their targets." Rutten laughs, "You're completely insane." Encrid finally accepts. This challenge is far harder than it looks. The wall is truly a wall. Boatman tells him, "Laugh while you can. Soon you'll realize this is all just a sharp illusion." Encrid wakes again, jolting out of bed. Maybe this is all a blessing in disguise. He goes to Jackson and asks more about the whistling dagger. Jackson is surprised. Where did that question come from? Encrid demands answers. Jackson explains, "The weapon is made by pressing multiple thin blades together. That's what creates the whistling sound. It used to be called the dagger that can only be heard, because it's nearly impossible to see with human eyes." Encrid asks, "Is there any way to dodge it?" Jackson replies, "Impossible." Encrid persists, "But if someone really needed to?" Jackson is thoughtful. "You really need to know." Encrid nods. Jackson continues, "Once it's thrown, looking at the dagger is pointless. You need to watch the hand that throws it. The moment of the throw decides everything. There are tricks to hide the motion, but trained eyes can catch them." Encrid asks, "Can I learn this?" Jackson bluntly replies, "With your current skill, you won't get far." Encrid scoffs, thinks Jackson is underestimating him. Just then, Jackson asks if he wants to learn how to throw daggers. "If you're not confident, don't bother." Encrid sees the opportunity and decides to take it. Later, he meets Jack and Bo again, remembering Jackson's advice. Keep the body relaxed while throwing. Focus when the blade leaves the hand. Seeing and dodging are one and the same. As soon as Rutten appears again, Encrid immediately kills Jack. Bo doesn't even resist much. The others run away in fear. Now Encrid can finally focus on his real target. He watches carefully, studies when Rutten is relaxed and when he's focused. If he can protect his heart, maybe he can avoid dying instantly. He blocks the first dagger with his hand, but the second one pierces straight into his chest. He knew it was incredibly fast, but even if only for a split second, Encrid had seen it. Rutten was about to repeat the same phrase again, but Encrid already knew what was coming. Persistent lovers never forget their target. Rutten froze, in shock. "How do you know that?" he asked. Encrid smiled. "Every time we meet, I learn more about you. A few more encounters and I'll see through all your cheap tricks." The next day, Encrid didn't waste time. He took out the ones behind him immediately and turned his full focus to Rutten. This time, he observed how Rotten's hand twisted, how the dagger emerged, and understood the trajectory. Encrid blocked it cleanly with his arm guard. Rutten was startled by this sudden leap in Encrid's ability. Encrid anticipated the next strike. He knew Rutten would change directions. He dodged, but Rutten was swift. With a sharp pivot, he landed a blow straight to Encrid's chest. What a weapon, Encrid thought. I want to wield it myself. In his next life, Encrid began training with throwing knives. Jackson watched him with suspicion. What are you even doing? I'm practicing the whistling tiger technique. Encrid replied, I don't have the real tiger dagger yet, but I will. On the 8th day, a homemade dagger snapped and nearly struck Jackson. That day, Encrid successfully dodged Rotten's delayed strike. But then came a new threat. A sharpshooter struck him from behind. Another variable to consider. By the 9th day, Encrid eliminated the sharpshooter with a well-placed dagger. Yet Rotten's next move still caught him off guard. Encrid practiced relentlessly until he could throw daggers with decent accuracy, but something still felt missing. Where did you even learn to throw like that? Jackson asked. Encrid lied. I just saw someone do it and copied them, if that's true. Jackson replied, You're a genius. Then he asked, Ever heard of the throwing blade technique? He told him about someone named Gerg, who invented it. His weapon was the whistling dagger designed to be silent, nearly weightless. At first, Gerg made ultra-thin blades, but they were hard to control. So he redesigned them into today's whistling daggers. Encrid was stunned. Even this weapon had a legacy. You should have known this already, Jackson said. Your posture is perfect for throwing them. On the 10th day, Encrid made a bold decision to change the route. Jack protested. If this goes wrong, we'll all be punished. I'm the highest ranking one here. I'll take full responsibility. Encrid replied. He saw the two whispering in a corner. They clearly hated the plan. But Encrid wasn't going to play by their rules anymore. He knew the market was the perfect place for assassins to strike. Jack tried again. We should turn back. And what did betraying your country get you? Encrid asked. A few gold coins. Hearing this, both of them lunged at him. But, with just a clean strikes, Encrid took them down. As soon as he finished them off, Roten and the blue assassin arrived. They're a bit late, Encrid noted. But no matter. Roten threw for daggers at once. But Encrid now understood his hand movements. The blue assassin tried a sneak attack from behind, but Encrid eliminated him with a single throw. Roten saw an opening. Encrid's back was turned. He attacked, but Encrid blocked the dagger with precision. It wounded him, but didn't kill. Now, Roten was afraid. Who the hell are you? That's not something you need to know, Encrid replied. He wondered how many more of those beautiful daggers Roten still had. Roten realized Encrid could throw daggers too. Are you an assassin? He asked. I only have two left. Encrid admitted, I'm jealous. I've only got one. Don't joke around, Roten snapped. You're insane. The moment you throw that last one, you'll die. Encrid understood, but he wasn't worried. He couldn't see Roten's hands, but he could track his arms. If he kept his posture and eyes steady, he could still dodge. Roten threw two daggers at once. Encrid ducked beneath them and hurled his own, slicing through Roten's cloak. He lied. Encrid thought he had more, but so did Encrid. He threw his final dagger. Roten dodged it. But now, he was furious. You lied. Roten drew his blade. Encrid was surprised an assassin with a sword. But then again, there were no rules saying assassins could only strike from a distance. The problem was, Encrid had never seen this move before. A sharp upward slash. Roten believed it was over, but Encrid grabbed his wrist with lightning speed. This is your end. He stabbed Roten right in the forehead. Roten collapsed. It took only 10 lives. 10 brutal battles for Encrid to cross that deadly threshold. He looked at Roten's corpse, peeled off his cloak, and found a whole bandolier of knives. These should belong to me. Wearing the bandolier, Encrid walked up to the ferry commander. It was all just a coincidence, he said casually. The commander looked him over. Fought 3 men and only got a scratch. Some coincidence. Guess the goddess of luck is on my side, Encrid replied. She stared at him for a moment, then finally gave in. Get back to your post. Back at the squad lodging, he opened the door and an axe flew toward his face. He dodged it instantly. Clearly, this was Rem's doing. Your sneak attack didn't work. Encrid shouted. Rem laughed. Assassins are after you. I'm just helping you train. In return, Encrid handed him a steaming hot stone. Here, eat this. Rem thought it was a potato, but the moment he touched it, he burned his hands. Encrid noted. Your reactions have improved. Then he turned to Grace. I need a haircut. 10 coppers, Grace replied. 5 Encrid bargained. They settled on 8 while cutting. Encrid asked, did your prices go up or what? No squad discount, Grace said. If you want cheap, go to the city barber. No thanks, they mess it up, Encrid said. Snow kept falling outside. Grace complained. It's freezing out here. Rem hated snow. Even Regne agreed, Odin said. It's a test from the gods. Encrid looked around. What are we even doing out here? Now he started wondering, how did these assassins get into the border? Guard, how long have they been here? He asked Chris. Where did Jack, Bo, and Roten come from? Chris replied. Jack was a pickpocket, got caught and was forced to enlist. Bo insulted a noble to his face. Rem was shocked. They seemed so normal. Encrid nodded. Even Roten came from a failed merchant guild turned mercenary. Those 3 had joined just last year. Encrid figured they might all belong to the same guild, probably the Thieves' Guild. Despite the name, The Thieves' Guild was little more than a den for criminals. Anyone associated with it knew every hidden corner of the city. Encrid turned to Jackson and asked, "Do you know anything about the Thieves' Guild?" Jackson looked surprised. "Why are you asking me?" Encrid shrugged. "Just had a feeling you might know." Jackson replied, "There used to be a contract before, but after the restructuring, everything got cut off. I don't know anything." Now, the haircut ended. Looking out at the heavy snow, Encrid said, "Damn, it's really pouring out there." Jackson added, "I'm heading into the city tonight." Ram quickly interjected, "You're just trying to escape from Cheval." "I'm not letting you run," Encrid suggested. "Let's do one thing, go on a mission. That way, no one has to do Cheval duty." Everyone agreed instantly, even Chris. But now Encrid needed permission. Rania mocked him, lazy even when it comes to asking for permission. They all went inside and waited while Encrid approached the ferry commander. "I believe the Thieves' Guild is behind the assassins," he said, "and I need to act now." The commander looked into his eyes and sensed something odd. "You're not doing this just to skip out on Cheval duty, are you?" Encrid quickly denied it, but thought to himself, "Damn, this woman is sharp." As the team passed through the center of the city, Kreis started thinking, where did this talk about the Thieves' Guild even come from? Maybe he meant the Gilfin Guild, but does he even know anything about them? Encrid certainly didn't. That's why they were all here to dig up information. Encrid told Jackson to find out where the guild members were hiding. The rest of the team would hold back. Jackson asked how he was supposed to do that. Figure it out. Encrid said casually. Kreis didn't like that answer, it felt vague and irresponsible. But Jackson understood the plan, which only made Kreis more suspicious of him. They arrived at a small inn and had a hearty meal together. Kreis leaned toward Encrid and asked, "What if Gilfin turns out to be innocent?" Encrid didn't care. Even if they're not connected to the assassins, they're still criminals. They need to be dealt with the sooner, the better. Kreis had already become friendly with the server, Lisa. He whispered something in her ear while Encrid quietly wondered why Jackson hadn't returned yet. Jackson had the skills, sure, but no solid leads. Encrid realized maybe he'd sent him out with too little information, and a tinge of guilt crept in. Jackson, meanwhile, sat silently on a rooftop, eyes scanning the snowy streets. Snow fell steadily around him. Suddenly, he noticed a suspicious individuals. It gave him an idea. Back at the inn, Encrid asked Kreis, "Do you know that girl?" "That's Lisa, the cobbler's daughter. Her dream is to open a large inn in the capital." Encrid was surprised Kreis knew so much, but Kreis simply replied, "Maybe because she could be a potential customer someday." Eventually, Jackson returned, covered in snow and shivering, only to find the rest of the team warm and cozy, enjoying hot food. "Eat first," Encrid said, but Jackson shook his head. "We shouldn't wait any longer. We need to move now." Ram wasn't thrilled about going out in the freezing cold, but Jackson asked, "Do you want to bathe in your own blood?" "Because, right now, that'll be the warmest thing you'll feel." Encrid agreed they had to go, but the snow made movement difficult. He looked out the window for 5 seconds and said, "This snow won't stop. Let's go." Kreis frowned. "Didn't you just say we'd wait?" "I've thought enough," Encrid replied. "Time to act." As they passed through the slums, two beggars jumped them with knives. Ram smiled, turned, and slammed one with his axe and the other with a punch. Then he turned to Jackson. "These your ratty little friends." Kreis suspected they were part of the Gilfin Guild. Jackson found their hideout, but the door was locked. Odin stepped forward. "Let me knock." Politely, he tapped the door with his fist and it opened instantly. Ram stared. "What kind of knock was that, man?" Encrid didn't care. The door was open, that was enough. As they walked in, Ram asked, "What's the plan?" "Interrogate them. Subdue them first. Talk later." Encrid replied. Inside, the enemy realized Encrid was coming. The leader warned, "If news of our defeat gets out, it'll cause a mess. Let's take them out here and now." Someone hesitated, but he's got a full team with him. They're nothing special. The leader snapped. Odin knocked again, this time with a kick. Ram barged in, ready for a fight. But Encrid raised his voice. "Those who won't kill the weak, who are ready to surrender, and who don't want to die, drop your weapons and cross this line. The rest will be executed." Ram asked, "Why aren't we just killing them already?" Encrid smirked, "Just adding some flair. I think I look pretty cool right now." The leader couldn't believe a low-ranked soldier was giving them orders. Odin whispered, "They're too far gone, surrounded by their own darkness. Won't listen until they're crushed." Encrid decided to press harder. "Bring out your strongest. Let's settle this." That was exactly what the leader wanted. He summoned Y1, their most powerful swordsman. Y1 stepped forward, confident. "No one has ever defeated me," he thought. But as he advanced, Encrid sidestepped his sword and drove a dagger straight into his shoulder. It was a move from the villainous mercenary sword-style strike while talking. Encrid had once fallen victim to it. Now, he had mastered it. If that was their strongest, Encrid thought, then I don't need to see anything else. One last chance, he said. Surrender or die. His team just stared, unimpressed. All they thought was, there he goes again, showing off. Suddenly, one man threw down his weapon and surrendered. The leader lunged toward him, ready to kill. But before he could strike, Encrid drove a knife into his skull. The man dropped instantly. Ram couldn't believe Encrid was actually trying to act cool. Odin genuinely thought he was. Kryze was stunned. Jackson thought, not bad. But Rania just stood there in silence, cringing. Encrid knew he was hamming it up, but it worked. The rest of the thieves dropped to their knees in fear. Rem asked, what now? Kill them all, they'll just cause trouble later. One of the thieves begged, please don't kill us. Some of our parents are sick, some of our families are poor. Encrid replied, doesn't matter. A crime is still a crime. The man said, if you have to kill someone, kill me. I'm Gilfin. Encrid was shocked. You're the boss. The one we just killed was just a thug. No, he was the boss. But I'm Gilfin. That wasn't his name. Encrid was completely confused. Kryze explained. They named the guild after a random guy, so if the cops came looking, they'd catch him and everyone else could escape. Gilfin added, our boss was rotten to the core. But we're not like him. If you want blood, take mine. The others tried to protect him. Gilfin's a good man, some pleaded. Kill us instead. But let him live. Rem turned to Encrid. You're really gonna kill them all? Didn't think you were such a devil. Encrid snapped. You were the first one who brought up killing. Gilfin offered. Take everything in the guild's vault. Just let us go. Kryze's eyes lit up. There's gotta be some shiny coins in there. Encrid gestures toward the storeroom. But there's a problem, they need to find the key first. Before anyone can search, Odin calmly opens the door without a key, as if it were nothing. Encrid turns to his team and says, take whatever you need. Rem quickly grabs a thermal leather jacket, warm, practical, and perfect for the weather. Rania questions if it's even necessary. But Encrid finds something too, a flexible yet tough leather armor that he really likes. Meanwhile, Kryze pulls Encrid aside and quietly makes a suggestion. They should take over this guild. Encrid looks at him, surprised. Are you serious? You want me to become a thief? Kryze nods without hesitation. Yes, but the kind that doesn't kill. Think about it, even if we destroyed this guild, it wouldn't rise again for another 2 weeks. So why not run it from behind the scenes using Gilfin as our puppet? Everything feels too convenient, almost like it's all falling into place too easily. Encrid gets suspicious. What exactly did you tell that girl? How did you manage to gather all these guild members in one place? Kryze flinches, realizing Encrid saw through it. You figured it out, huh? We caught them all at once. And if you give the green light, I can arrange for a steady monthly payment in krona, and also squeeze information out of them. Encrid isn't interested in money, but then again, it doesn't hurt either. He gives permission, and Kryze tells Gilfin from now on, our guild won't kill anyone. The truly bad ones will be sent to prison, and we'll reform the guild slowly. But Gilfin panics. If we don't destroy the guild, we'll be hunted down. Our old boss worked for Aspen. He took their money. Every spring and fall, a frog comes to check on us. If he even suspects anything, we're done for. That frog, it's no animal. It's a monster. Kryze remains unfazed. Then why worry? We've got our own monsters too. Encrid starts to feel like their mission here is complete. Maybe it's time to head back. But Rem eyes him suspiciously, wondering if the others are still out there shoveling snow. Rania agrees that some things are still unfinished. Odin says he wants to stay a bit longer to spread the word of the Lord. Jackson adds that he has errands and will return the next morning. Encrid gets the message. He apologizes. I didn't know you all were so busy. The next day, he reports that his team has returned and the Thieves Guild is no longer a threat, but the ferry commander confronts him. So, did you enjoy skipping shovel duty? Encrid is confused. What is she even talking about? Word is, Encrid loves dueling. The commander challenges him to a sparring match right then and there. He agrees, but as soon as he reaches for his sword, she knocks him to the ground. Get up, she says. He does and gets knocked down again just as he tries to pick up his blade. Encrid is stunned. Her sword is so thin, it's almost like a whip. The beating continues until he's panting. Out of breath, the ferry commander watches in confusion. Wasn't this the same guy who took down 4 armed men and broke a spell? She thought he came from the future with superhuman reflexes, but now, he seems like a total amateur. She no longer knows who he really is, but one thing's certain. From now on, she'll be keeping a close eye on him. Encrid is furious with himself. He's trained endlessly with the sword, but never practiced unarmed combat. And now, he finally understands what he's lacking in martial arts. He heads to Odin, who's in the middle of training. Odin says the first requirement for martial arts is a strong body. Just then, someone yells in the background. "Who ripped that tree out of the ground?" Odin, cool as ever, replies. "That's just part of my training." His method: push the body to its absolute limits. This is called the isolation method, a brutal way of training so intense it blurs the line between life and death. "That's my specialty," Encrid mutters. Before long, his entire body feels like it's about to break. Odin explains the real secret: overloading. Muscles only grow stronger when they tear. Encrid looks like he's about to collapse, but Odin pushes him. "Just 10 more seconds. That's your limit." Then Odin asks, "Don't you regret not starting this sooner?" Encrid replies, "There's no time for regret. What's gone is gone. I'm living in this moment, otherwise I wouldn't have made it past the first wall, and I'd probably have gone insane." He begs Odin, "Teach me more, as long as I can still move." Odin is impressed by his determination and can't help but respect him for it. So, he agrees but says, "Today, you'll return to the post crawling on all fours." As Encrid trains, even the panther watches him closely. That night, Encrid crashes to the floor from exhaustion. Rem wonders if someone's been bothering him. But no, it was just intense training. Encrid lies on the ground and the panther comes to lie beside him. Rem jokes at this point. He needs a name. Encrid thinks for a moment. "How about Hater Blackie Blue?" The panther growls immediately. Rem laughs. "Bro, that name is animal abuse." Encrid actually liked the name, but now that the panther's going to be living with him, he'll need to think of something better. That night, Encrid finds himself in a strange dreamlike world. At first, he assumes this is another of the fairy man's tricks, but the atmosphere feels different. Suddenly, a woman appears behind him. She says just one thing: "My name is Esther." He wakes up, startled, but the real surprise is that the same woman is lying next to him in his bed. Embarrassed, Esther tries to cover up, but Encrid simply smiles and says, "Good night," pulling her close again. The next morning, things go back to normal. Rem asks if he's heading out again. "Doesn't your body hurt from yesterday's training?" Encrid says, "Actually, I feel lighter than ever." Esther used magic on me. She can't afford to lose him. She needs this man to free herself from her curse. She doesn't want Encrid throwing his life away in reckless training and dying halfway through. Rem teases him. "Wait, did you meet a priest or something?" "No," Encrid replies. "I had a dream about a woman." Rem's eyes widen. "Your dreams have women in them. You don't seem the type. What was she like?" Encrid thinks for a moment. "Beautiful." Esther, secretly listening, smiles. At least his eyes work. She explains her story. As a magician, she constantly sought knowledge and magic. That's when the curse struck, turning her into a beast. Her powers were sealed. She was wandering through fields one day when she sensed another cursed presence in Encrid's. That led her to him. Now, she quietly watches his training. One day, Encrid accidentally calls her Blackie Blue, which enrages her. In the world of magic, names hold great power. Being called the wrong name over and over could erode her remaining strength. She had saved just enough to speak to Encrid, and now she's wasting it on someone way too pure-hearted. But maybe that's destiny. She knows Encrid is cursed too. His curse hasn't fully awakened yet, but it's far more dangerous than hers. It devours lesser curses. So as long as she stays close to him, her magical energy will slowly return. Now, Encrid is training one-on-one with Odin. He dodges some of the attacks but still takes quite a few hits. Odin's lightning speed is proof of his skill. Odin explains that in martial arts, your body must always be ready, like swordsmanship. Technique and training mean nothing without speed. Right now, Odin says, "You're as fast as an old turtle, but your body's changing, and I can see it in your face. You don't want to stop." A month passes. The snow begins to melt. The snow had melted, greenery had started to return, and Encrid's training continued uninterrupted. He was now sparring with Rem, who was genuinely surprised by Encrid's rapid progress. For the first time, Rem felt like he could engage in a proper duel with him. Later that evening, Encrid invited Regna for training. After the session, Regna noted, "You still struggle a bit with adapting on the fly, but your fundamentals are top tier. Your muscle memory is so sharp that you could probably fight in your sleep." Encrid Catching his breath, smiled and said, "Don't worry, repetition is my specialty." After training, Encrid returned to his bed, but his mind was restless. This training is good, he thought, but I need real combat experience too. Just then, he heard a rustle to his left hand, instantly caught a blade that was aimed straight at his throat. It was Jackson, who congratulated him with a grin. "You've improved a lot. At least now you won't die in an ambush." Christ grumbled, "If you guys want to train, take it outside. You've turned this place into a dust storm." Encrid turned to Jackson and asked, "What are you doing up so early? Weren't you supposed to be out earning money today?" Before Jackson could respond, Esther stirred awake with a soft noise, and Christ immediately pounced to her side, hoping to find a valuable claw worth 10,000 krona. Suddenly, there was a knock at the door. It was the ferry commander. She looked straight at Encrid. "Come with me," she said. "The snow's already melted." Encrid replied casually, but it didn't matter. A new mission awaited him. It was from the Mercenary Soldier Board, a well-known policy tied to the soldier ranking system. It allowed trained soldiers to be hired cheaply by civilians. These mercenaries were affordable, disciplined, and reliable, hence the system's growing popularity. For Encrid, it was a perfect opportunity to test himself in real situations. There was no reason to refuse. Meanwhile, a tired guard, just off his shift, was looking forward to some rest until he spotted Encrid walking beside the ferry commander. Encrid asked her, "How many people can I take with me?" "3 total," she replied. "But bring only one with you for now. The third will be me." Encrid was taken aback. "You're coming on the mission yourself." He wanted to know why. Nearby, the guard eavesdropped eagerly. Rumors had already been flying about how often Encrid and the ferry commander were seen together. Some whispered they were dating. The ferry commander noticed his expression and asked directly, "Do you have a problem with us doing a mission together?" Hearing that, the guard practically melted and the gossip spread even faster. Those who knew each other before joining the army, someone said. "Word is they already have kids," another added dramatically. The next morning, while Encrid trained as usual, other soldiers couldn't stop talking about the supposed romance. Most agreed they actually looked good together. Later, when Encrid returned to the barracks, Rem teased him. "Look who's finally home. Been months. Your kid could pop out any day now." Encrid's face twisted in panic. "You're all misunderstanding, it's just stupid rumors." Christ joined in the teasing. "Why so embarrassed? The truth will come out eventually." Regna, on the other hand, seemed genuinely happy. "If she's staying with you, you both can train together." Odin even prayed for their blessed future. Encrid couldn't help but feel his own team was mentally torturing him. Rem added fuel to the fire. "So, when's your little date? I'll tag along as the third wheel." Encrid was puzzled, then realized Rem was talking about the mission. But Rem quickly noticed something. "Wait, if I'm not going with you, then who is?" That's when Jackson stepped forward. "I'm ready. Let's go." As they exited, Rem shouted behind them, "You picked that rat and left me?" Training scrambled your brain, hasn't it? But Encrid knew this was a tactical decision. If the commissioner got angry, Rem would probably be the first to throw an axe at her. He didn't want that kind of chaos. Jackson, walking beside him, asked, "Did you choose me because I won't make a scene?" "That's part of it," Encrid admitted. "But the real reason is you've done missions like this before. I needed someone reliable. And you're the guy." Jackson smiled, clearly pleased, then offered one piece of advice. "Don't give your whole heart to a woman. You'll only end up hurting." Encrid met his gaze firmly. "In that matter, I don't need advice." He knew Jackson had heard the rumors, and things were about to get awkward, just as expected. The ferry commander eventually asked, "What exactly did we do that made people think we already have children?" Encrid instantly denied it. "None of that's true." Behind him, Jackson stifled laughter. Encrid glared. "You dare laugh in this situation?" The commander then asked, "Do these questions make you uncomfortable?" "No," Encrid replied. "Then, like them." He was caught off guard with no answer. She pressed again. "What exactly do you enjoy about this?" Encrid was baffled. Why is she asking all this out of nowhere? Before he could respond, the mission's commissioner arrived, interrupting the moment. The ferry commander looked slightly annoyed. Things had just started getting interesting, and now the fun was over. Encrid couldn't tell if she was joking or serious. Her face gave away nothing. The mission: to guard the children of a wealthy merchant. During the succession process of the rock fry trading company, Encrid assumed he'd meet a heavyset, rich merchant, but stepping out of the carriage was a graceful, composed woman, Leona Eris, the successor herself and their protection target. During the journey, no one really spoke to Encrid directly. Even basic instructions were passed through her maid, who informed them they'd be staying at an inn until the other heirs arrived. Encrid recalled the importance of small details: age, gait, eye movement critical in analyzing a threat. He began observing everyone around him. The guard walking ahead was left-handed. Her gait was heavy, meaning she carried a large weapon. Her sword alone showed she had raw power. Still, none of them seemed to be of any special rank. Even if the analysis was incomplete, it was enough. For now, to pass time, Jackson suggested a game identify sounds. They both tested their auditory skills, but Jackson outperformed him. He trained for this at the inn. Leona and her guard took the upstairs room, instructing Encrid's team to stay below. The ferry commander joined Encrid and Jackson for the game, but Encrid was quickly eliminated, no match for them. But the sounds they were now hearing weren't playful anymore. Someone was sneaking toward them with blades drawn. An ambush had begun. The three instantly sprang into action. They had suspected something might happen. The other guards froze in fear. One attacker rushed Encrid, but he took him down effortlessly. Screams echoed from upstairs. In missions like this, the commissioner's safety was top priority. Encrid dashed up the stairs, only to be met by a flurry of knives. Jackson stepped in behind him, blocking every blade with a stool. The ferry commander cleaned up the rest downstairs. The assassins began to worry, but they still had numbers on their side. Watching Jackson fight, the ferry commander realized this guy was stronger than Encrid. In fact, most of the team probably was. Yet they all followed Encrid's orders. They trusted him. Who was the one who assembled such a team? Fascinating. A man lunged at her. She ended him effortlessly with just a swing of her sword. Encrid, too, tore through anyone in his way. These petty ambushes didn't bother him anymore. After fighting Crying and the half-fairy assassins, this felt like child's play. One attacker pounced. Encrid saw the perfect opportunity to test his new body skills, though still a bit slow. His movements were much more fluid now. The difference was clear. He was stronger than before. Suddenly, Leona's guard was thrown out of the room. Encrid seized the moment and rushed inside, finding an assassin leaning over Leona, while her maid desperately tried to protect her. He considered using his whistle tigers, but this enemy seemed weak to poor for any sophisticated moves. If he moved fast enough, he might be able to stop him. But that kind of speed would require a lot of power. He remembered seeing someone do that once. He tries to perfectly mimic the same man. Even if he manages to replicate a fraction of that power, that alone would be enough. With full force, he leaps forward and reaches the assassin before the strike even lands. A cold blade brushes against him, but thanks to his leather armor, it leaves no cut. Encrid simply says, "Let's take this downstairs," and throws the assassin out the window. The man crashes down, landing on his back. The impact knocks the wind out of him. But Encrid is glad he didn't suffer any serious injuries from the fall. With no enemies left upstairs, Encrid shifts all his focus to this one remaining assassin. And despite falling from such a height, the man stands back up resilient, tough, full of grit. He looks at Encrid and asks, "You with the border guard?" "No." Encrid replies plainly. The assassin grins. "That's good. Means I have no reason to lose." Encrid studies him. He carries swords of various lengths, yet his balance is perfect. Maybe he's using a flowing sword style. That'll make this difficult. The assassin vows, "I'll kill you first, then that woman." "You talk too much," Encrid replies calmly. The moment the words leave his lips, the assassin lunges. This was Encrid's first serious fight in a long time, and this opponent wasn't weak. But that only made Encrid more excited. There was so much he wanted to test now. As the assassin shifts his positioning, Encrid instantly recognizes the technique. This was the Veldu style. He dodges the first attack, then the second, and the third. Both fighters retreat and reposition. Another clash, another dodge. Encrid evades once again. The assassin is baffled. How is this random soldier dodging every strike? Even Encrid is impressed. Maybe he's doing what I still haven't mastered, just relying purely on talent. From his precision and accuracy, it reminded him of that intruder who killed him again and again. The assassin charges in anger now, but Encrid can read his blade and trajectory clearly. The moment he tries a double swipe, Encrid finds his opening. He drives his sword straight into the man's chest. He was aiming for the heart, but slightly missed. As he pulls the blade back, he thinks to himself, "I need to get better. Maybe I should train with Rania or Jackson." The remaining assassins flee the inn. Encrid is about to chase after them when Jackson shows up. Your fight drew quite a bit of attention, he says. Encrid points. They're running, but Jackson stops him. We weren't hired to catch them. Now that they're gone, the commissioner is safe. The ferry commander arrives too. Not bad. She comments, "Are you alright?" Encrid asks. With a teasing smirk, she replies, "AWW. So, worried about your sweetheart. You won't be able to sleep tonight, huh? Butterflies in your stomach." Encrid just gives her a tired look. Unfortunately, Leona had overheard everything. "So, are you two in a relationship?" she asks. Encrid quickly responds, "No, not at all." The ferry commander, playing along, adds, "Oh, so it was all just a joke to you?" Encrid doesn't know what to say anymore. Only one thought runs through his mind: what is even happening right now? Leona then asks, "What's your name?" Encrid, he replies, "Thank you for protecting me. You'll be rewarded properly for this," she says. Encrid bows his head. "Just fulfilling the duty I was given." The next day, more guards are sent in, likely in anticipation of another ambush. The few assassins who were caught are handed over to the army. Encrid sits alone at a table, deep in thought. Who were these people? Some of them were highly skilled. Could they have been sent by one of the other heirs? That's when Leona comes down the stairs and spots Encrid. "You're up early." "It's my shift," he replies. "Gotta do what I signed up for." She suddenly sits beside him. "Come with me. I want to give you an opportunity to join my personal forces." She explains that the Rockford Company isn't where it should be anymore. Their rivals are strong, like the Shepherds of the Beastlands, the Black Leather Guild known for dragon hunting, and the Glacier Rangers defending Permafrost. Then there's the map and exclusive chart that outlines trade routes and regional specialties. It's so valuable, anyone who sold it wouldn't have to work another day in their life. Such power, she says, shouldn't fall into the hands of a foolish son. She wants to expand the organization, and for that, she needs capable people. People like Encrid, those who risk their lives without even asking for a reward. People would kill for this position, she tells him. "You're no different. I'll give you everything, just join my team." But Encrid immediately refuses. Leona is about to ask why, but Jackson interrupts. Once someone declines, it's best not to ask again. The ferry commander agrees. He's right, it's beneath your pride. Leona understands. With other heirs arriving soon, she takes her leave to prepare. Jackson laughs. "You even turned down a rich girl. Do you only go for the difficult ones? You should stop flirting with every woman you meet." Encrid answers firmly, "Nothing happened." But the ferry commander looks hurt. "I didn't think you'd try to play both sides." Encrid is exhausted. "I'm sorry. Maybe my tastes have changed." Both Jackson and the ferry commander are shocked. They hadn't expected that response. The other guards who overhear begin forming their own ideas. Maybe Encrid is the kind of guy who doesn't value his woman. In this game of fake love and imagined relationships, it seems Encrid is the one losing. The sun rises, and right then, Christ walks in. He's heard everything. "So you spent the night with the commissioner, huh?" The guards are stunned. "Now you're bagging rich women too. Man, you've really become a heartbreaker. Did you come just to mess with me?" Encrid asks. "Nope." Christ replies. "I'm here with the Girlfriend Guild's report. Gotta stay at the top." Good timing. Encrid says, "There's something I need to do." He still wants to track the assassins who got away. He needs to know who they are and what they're planning next. Renos Rockford was the previous head of the Rockford Merchant Association, a respected businessman with sharp instincts. He saw that same sharpness in his stepdaughter, Leona, and named her as his successor. But he couldn't bring himself to disinherit his own son. His indecision left the association in limbo. After his death, while his son was being brought over, one of his men reported that the assassins had failed because they hadn't been left to work alone. This man was Polly Rufordrinos Rockford's son. "We'll need to come up with a new plan," one of them says. "But the deal still stands, right?" Polly stutters, confirming it. "If I get everything that was promised, you'll be well rewarded." The quiet man beside him doesn't speak. He never speaks much. Soon, they arrive at the tavern where Leona had been held captive. As they enter, Polly complains, "This place is full of dust." Exactly what I'd expect from Leona. Encrid notices the quiet man and immediately senses his strength. The two of them lock eyes for a few seconds. Then the man steps back. Polly yells, "What are you all waiting for? Bring Leona down." Encrid thinks to himself, bringing Jackson really was the right move. If I'd brought Rem, someone's skull would have cracked open by now. That's when he notices Jackson slowly drawing his sword. Encrid stops him. Polly screams again, "Hurry up," and just then, Leona appears. Leona walks in and commands, "Calm down. This is not a place to shout, and you're late as it is." Polly snaps back, "I don't care. First, teach your uncultured guards some manners." Without warning, Leona slaps him hard across the face, and Encrid watches, slightly amused. Is there anyone in this area who knows how to have a conversation without resorting to violence? Polly, enraged, yells, "Are you insane?" Leona retorts, "You're the insane one, picking a fight with a border guard. Soldier, do you want to rot in jail for the rest of your life?" Polly's face goes pale. He had no idea who he was dealing with. Before he can say anything else, a man standing nearby clears his throat. Polly immediately points a finger and blurts out, "It wasn't me. You're falsely accusing me. You're not even a real member of this family, you're just an outsider." Leona doesn't deny it. "Yes, I was adopted, but at least I understand trade routes and finance, unlike you." Polly scoffs, "That's what servants are for." Leona's patience starts to crack. "If our father's will had stated the heir must be decided through debate, I wouldn't be wasting my time on this argument." Encrid observes quietly, "The old patriarch was too soft-hearted. Leona deserves to be the heir. Then why is this fool being given another chance?" Leona continues, "Polly's only claim to inheritance is his bloodline. But look at him. There's not a trace of our father in him, not in wisdom, not even in looks." Polly loses his temper and starts drawing his sword. Encrid's hand instinctively moves to his own, and he notices the silent man nearby is doing the same. The tension thickens. The room stills as if frozen in time. Encrid steps in front of Leona. His sword slowly slides out of its sheath. Polly's guards step forward to protect him, but Encrid is focused on the silent man's stance. A swift sword style, he notes. Faster than even a city assassin's dagger, maybe? His fighting spirit stirs. "I want to see how he wields that blade." Just as the silent man begins to raise his sword, a commanding voice rings out, "Stop." Border guards arrive, carrying direct orders from the crown. "If you don't put your swords away immediately," they warn, "this will be considered an act of treason." Polly backs down quickly. Encrid lowers his blade too, though a flicker of irritation lingers in his eyes. He wanted that fight. Jackson's voice echoes in Encrid's mind. "If we're being honest, you're the weirdest one among us." Torres, the leader of the border guards, announces, "The assassins we captured were foreign mercenaries. We're taking over this case now. They've confessed they were paid by a merchant association." He turns to the others. "So tell me, was this really about inheritance?" Polly's face stiffens, but his companion interjects, "Did they name any specific association? There's no solid proof." Torres laughs. "You talk too much. Do you think we're fools?" Leona steps forward and makes an offer. "If you truly want to find the real culprits, arrest both of us. Keep us in custody until the mastermind is exposed." Polly protests, "I never agreed to this." Encrid is confused. "Why would the victim want to be imprisoned?" Torres explains, "The ones we caught were just pawns. They repeated one line, 'The boss told us to.' No real intel." Leona adds, "Some assassins escaped. One of them could be the boss. We need to find them." A commander asks, "And what if we don't find anything?" Leona responds, "Then that's our problem to handle. But for now, we all return to the city. And if summoned, we must return." Encrid worries. It's a huge risk. If Leona returns to the city, we won't be able to protect her. Her bodyguards won't stand a chance against the police. She'll be killed instantly. But he knows Leona is smart. She's aware of the danger. The question is, why is she still going through with this? Leona is a merchant. She never speaks without expecting something in return. "Whoever captures the remaining assassins will be rewarded," she declares. Her maid brings out a bundle wrapped in cloth. As it's unveiled, everyone sees what it is: the fourth weapon in the Karen collection, the Carmen stiletto. Jackson's eyes gleam. He immediately steps forward. "I'll take the case," and Encrid is surprised. "What's so special about this dagger?" Polly yells. "Why would you bring something so valuable to this backward village? Do you even know what it's worth?" Leona calmly replies, "It's mine. I can do whatever I want with it." Encrid turns to Jackson. "What's the stiletto?" Jackson is stunned. "You really don't know? It's a weapon forged by the legendary smith Carmen. He was once a slave, turned assassin, who crafted 7 deadly weapons for revenge. The stiletto is the fourth. It's so valuable, some would sell their own families to get it. The stakes now sky high." Torres declares, "No one leaves this, and without our permission." Encrid tells Jackson, "Don't worry about the stiletto. I've already sent criers after the fugitives. We'll have news soon." Polly is still arguing when the silent man locks eyes with Encrid. The two stare at each other until the man calmly walks away. Night falls. Everyone is trapped inside the inn. Polly ponders, what if this murder plot leads back to us? His assistant urges him to rest. "There's nothing we can do against the border guards. We have to wait. If we siblings can't decide the heir, the investors will. That's the opening we need." Polly, voice shaky, says, I've already sent word to everyone. If they choose me, their rewards will be great. The silent man gazes out the window. Outside, as always, Encrid is training his intense, over-the-top workout routine in full swing. Torres watches him. I'm surprised you're still going this hard. Isn't this the perfect time to take a break? Encrid responds, if I were talented like you, maybe. But I'm not. What others learn in a week might take me a month or a year. That's why every single day matters. I don't like wasting time. Every day lays the foundation for what's to come. One of the guards begins to reflect. Is he strange? Or are we just lazy? Even Torres seems conflicted. He stands up. Encrid, slow down. You're already strong. Our last match was a draw only because I didn't expect your speed. But what about now? Encrid accepts the unspoken challenge. They clash again and Torres wins. Again and again. 11 rounds in a row. Everyone cheers for Torres and mocks Encrid. But Encrid isn't bothered. He simply says, one more time. Torres asks, don't you ever get tired? That was 11 times already. Someone else steps forward. Let us have a go too. Soon, a line forms one by one. People want to fight. Polly watches in disgust. Savages. No sense of decorum. One border guard slams Encrid into the ground. The silent man continues observing closely. Encrid gets up. Can you do that again? The silent man understands this boy doesn't fear losing. To him, every fight is like a child discovering a new toy. And then he remembers something. Encrid had never backed down from a challenge even when he knew the opponent was far stronger. His defiance wasn't just courage, it was the stubbornness of someone different. Someone with something to prove. Despite getting trapped in the same move 3 or 4 times, Encrid didn't give up. He wasn't naturally talented in combat, but repeated experience taught him to respond better, sharper, and when he finally managed to win, the border guards erupted with excitement. Sitting in the corner, Ferry Commander quietly admitted, he's winning everyone's heart. A truly dangerous kind of man. Leona turned and teasingly asked, are you two really dating? The commander quipped back, dating. We're married, okay. The ceremony hasn't happened yet, and I think we might already be expecting. Encrid couldn't handle it anymore. He half-joked that she should probably stay locked inside the inn. Just then, the quiet man in the group broke his silence and asked, can I fight too? The room went silent. Encrid looked at him with interest. Torres tried to guess what was going through his mind. Everyone already knew the quiet guy's name, but no one saw any standout talent in him, nothing special. Still, there was something about him that made Torres want to mentor him. The desire to teach was overwhelming. Someone told the quiet man, you're not in our league. Just sit back and watch. But Encrid stepped in. No. I've been waiting for this moment. The quiet man smiled, watching from above. Jackson noticed the man only held a wooden stick, but he knew instantly. This man was dangerous. Jackson, prepared to intervene, realizing the duel had become more than just a friendly sparring match. As the quiet man made his move, Encrid could clearly see the attack. He realized it was a feint, the real strike aimed for his neck. If he didn't block in time, he'd be dead. In a real battle, he would have already lost. The man's speed was frightening. He told Encrid, you can read attacks well, but you need to work on your speed. Encrid had expected his swift sword to be fast after all. The name suggested it, but this was beyond anything he had imagined. He thought he'd grown stronger. Yet this man revealed how far behind he still was. The gap between them was vast. And yet, instead of despair, Encrid smiled. He asked for another round. The quiet man admired his spirit, and they fought through the night. Most people fell asleep, but those who were truly interested stayed up to watch. The quiet man reflected, anyone who's held a sword knows the pain of facing someone they simply can't beat. He had shown Encrid that impossible gap, but Encrid still refused to surrender. Jackson noted that Encrid's reaction time was slow. He couldn't dodge every strike. If this continued, he'd never overcome the wall in his way. So, Jackson decided Encrid needed serious speed training. The quiet man eventually called it a night, suggesting they rest before exhaustion set in. Encrid simply said, you're amazing. One day, I'll master swift sword too. The quiet man smiled back, thinking, you're the amazing one. With just a bit more talent, you'd be a legend. The next day, someone shouted that the runaway mercenaries had been captured. Encrid nodded at Christ, acknowledging his good work, but to him, it felt too easy. These rats weren't even hiding properly. Leona recognized one of them from Encrid's team and thanked him. Torres immediately began interrogation. Who sent you? Polite's heart began to pound. He was terrified his name might come up. One mercenary admitted they were hired by a company from Espen. Their job was to expand influence in a disputed zone. He didn't know much, just that they were paid upfront and promised more later. Leona turned to Torres. The decision is yours now, right? Torres looked uncertain. Did she really want her foolish brother to be behind all this? Lana just wanted her guess to be right. She was even willing to hand over the stiletto for it. But unfortunately, she couldn't interrogate them herself. Torres understood what Lana wanted, but also knew this was their job, getting the truth from criminals. So she gave the order. Take them away. I'll file the report. As Leona's car was being escorted, Jackson admired a dagger and grinned with childlike joy. Encrid warned him not to flaunt it in public. He had never seen Jackson this happy. It was like watching a kid in a candy store. Christ joked, just don't fall in love with Leona. She's terrifying. Encrid had no such intentions. Still, Christ felt that whatever was happening had Polite's fingerprints all over it. Something odd had happened the day before. While capturing the marks, a stranger had approached Christ. He knew not only his name and team, but also his title, guild boss of Gilfin. He claimed to work for Leona and already knew where the marks were hiding. They'd bribed the military for release and prearranged the cover story they'd tell in the inn. Encrid couldn't understand if Polite was behind this. How had Leona been hurt? But Leona seemed relieved, saying, at least my brother wasn't behind it. Otherwise, even father's name would have been tainted. Encrid suspected it was about her loyalty to her father. But she corrected herself. She didn't care for such things. Forget it, he asked. Will everything be okay outside the border? They won't be able to protect Lana. If Polite attacks, she'll be alone. Lana smiled. Don't worry, everything's already arranged. As they reached the city gate, guards stood ready. One officer stepped forward and introduced himself as Mattis, guard commander of the Rockfried Merchant Association, he said. He had come to escort their newly chosen leader, Leona, unanimously elected by the association's stakeholders. All the guards kneeled before her. Encrid realized what Leona had done. She had been held back here on purpose. Yet, in that time, she had organized voting, swayed every stakeholder, and taken full control. Loyalty, decisiveness, and sharp information. She turned each into a weapon. Truly, a dangerous woman. She wanted Encrid back on her team, but wouldn't ask directly. There was something different about him. People just wanted to stand with him. She simply hoped they'd meet again and help one another. Encrid squeezed her hand in agreement. Suddenly, Polite jumped out of a carriage, yelling at the guards. What are you doing? You're betraying the trust my father gave you. Mattis stepped up. Don't dishonor your father's name. You're not worthy of it. Polite's men realized he had completely failed. But the quiet man remarked, our mission is complete. Now we know that the leader of Rockfried is a cunning woman, and there's a soldier who might one day shake the world. Back during training, the quiet man had told Encrid, lower your sword. I respect your strength and effort. But he had also added, you have no talent right now. It was a bitter truth but honest. Encrid hadn't heard those words till much later. But he had never listened to anyone before, and he made it this far. After that day, the quiet man vanished. That was their final meeting. The next morning, Encrid woke in camp. Rem saw him and joked, don't say my name. You're about to go hang out with that feline jerk anyway. Encrid explained. He wanted to train and needed Rem's help. Rem's face lit up with joy. To master Swift Sword, Encrid needed two things: the clarity to choose the shortest, sharpest path, and the speed to move without friction. He scratched Rem in a flash, leaving him stunned. Rem admitted, okay, you've figured out how to strike fast. Now it's my turn to be faster. Encrid barely understood before Rem attacked at double speed, striking straight for his neck. Encrid had to leap back, stunned at how fast Rem had become. He made progress. Sure, but the journey was far from over. Later that evening, while training alone, Encrid sensed an attack coming and blocked it just in time. Jackson smiled. Your eyes and ears are working now. That part of your training is done. Encrid asked, wait, you did all that just to test me? Jackson nodded. Yeah, but now it's time for the real lesson. Suddenly, Encrid felt Jackson's killing intent so strong it almost suffocated him. This is the feeling of intent to kill. Jackson said, if your eyes or ears can't sense it, your instincts must. It's a skill beyond the five senses, like a sixth sense. I'll teach it to you, but in return, I want that stiletto. Encrid smiled. He was happy there was still so much to learn. This journey was just getting exciting. Jackson explained that this sixth sense was rooted in instinct, not perception. Perception relied on the five senses, but instinct guided movement, awareness, and the way predators hunted prey. If Encrid kept training in this heightened state, eventually, He'd start feeling malice even if it couldn't be seen or heard. It wouldn't happen immediately. But over time, this sixth sense would awaken. That night, as Encrid sharpened his sword, Rem commented, "You look different." Encrid thought he meant his physical condition, but it wasn't that. Odin said, "You've started smiling more." Though even that wasn't it, Christ chimed in. "He's just gotten crazier," and everyone laughed. Encrid replied with a grin, "I'm the only normal one here. That's why I look weird among all you lunatics." As everyone dozed off, Rem noticed Esther quietly slipping her hand into Encrid's. She notices him again, his body completely wrecked, just like every other day. He's pushing himself through training, as if he's ready to die. Without his magic, he would have collapsed long ago. She doesn't want him to die, not yet, because if he dies, her curse won't be lifted. That's why she decides to enhance even his clothing now. Just like her ability makes her relive each day over and over. Encrid trains over and over again without stopping, without resting. He doesn't tire, he doesn't give up. She knows this is the only thing that will make him stronger. That's her greatest reward. However, his training to develop a sixth sense isn't going well. He still doesn't understand it, and it's starting to disappoint the others. Rem even says, "Forget what I said about you changing. You're still the same as before." Odin finds this strange. Encrid had made tremendous progress in just a single day. And even Rania had called him a genius. But maybe that was just a fluke, nothing but luck. Everyone knows that real learning only happens on the battlefield. And since things are quiet for a while in a span, they suggest that Encrid go hunt a commissioned beast or something similar. He walks straight toward the quest board, thinking they're expecting him to prove himself again, since he hasn't been improving fast enough. Just then, someone hands him a piece of paper and says, "If nothing interesting shows up on the board, take this quest instead." Encrid reads the paper and finds it strange. It's a request to investigate the basement of a cobbler. Encrid asks the man, "Isn't this the kind of task for a recon team?" But the man explains that a recon team won't be enough. According to the cobbler, there might be something undead down there. Encrid finds it hard to believe. How could something like that exist right in the middle of the city? Maybe the man just saw a giant rat or something. Still, Encrid needs more battle experience, and the task feels too trivial to him. He's about to decline, but for some reason, he accepts. When he arrives, the cobbler's daughter immediately invites him in. The cobbler is digging in the floor and lights up when he sees Encrid. He explains that while digging, he found something strange beneath the floor. Encrid is stunned. A tunnel right beneath the heart of the city. This is no rat hole. He grabs a torch and decides to go down. From the size of the place, it's clear that the tunnel was made by people and that there's something more down there. He and the cobbler walk until they reach a six-way crossroad. That confirms that this tunnel is man-made. Encrid picks a path, but the cobbler insists there must be an undead in there. Encrid warns him not to wander around. He'll go in first to check, but as soon as Encrid steps inside, he's hit by an intense heat, and within seconds, there's a massive explosion that blows them both away. Only their shadows remain on the ground. Encrid wakes up again. It was a magical trap. When it comes to fighting mages, there's only one piece of advice people give: run. Those who die fighting mages are lucky. Those who survive, they suffer. Far worse. And this logic applies to their magical traps too. He returns to the quest board, wondering, how is he supposed to fight something like this? What kind of skill could possibly help him survive such deadly magic? The same man offers him the quest again, but warns that this can only be handled with the help of a magic specialist or someone highly skilled. This isn't like the walls he used to break through. He can't just brute force his way through. Encrid thinks maybe the ferry commander will listen to him, but before that man goes in alone again, he needs to act fast. Everything flashes back to him, and he rushes home. He kicks open the door and dives straight into the tunnel, sprinting toward the crossroads. But the cobbler is already inside one of the tunnels. Encrid tries to stop him, but it's too late. The same trap activates again, blowing them both up. Encrid now understands he needs another way. First, he needs to meet the cobbler and convince him not to go down there again. The ferryman says, "For a moment, I felt like my skin was turning inside out, like I was burning from the inside. Are you really going back to that same fire that could burn you again?" Encrid admits the pain was unbearable, like 1,000 needles stabbing him all at once. But what hurt more was watching an innocent man die for nothing. This isn't a path of glory. When he wakes up again, he immediately gets dressed and jumps out the door. Rem asks where he's rushing off to. He replies, simple, "I'm going to save that cranky old cobbler." Rem laughs, "Back to fighting the monster in the boots, are you?" but Encrid is already in motion. He can't stop the man from digging. He can't just leave that tunnel under his house either. Once the digging is done, Encrid sternly instructs the cobbler to stay behind. The cobbler isn't happy, but Encrid insists. As he heads inside again, he considers asking a magic expert for help, but that would take too long. And who would even listen to him? The place is filled with hidden traps. One of them is bound to kill someone. He makes up his mind. He must gather all the information he can, even if it costs him his life. He already knows about one trap, so he decides to test it with his body. But repeating the same day over and over feels like cheating. He searches for a better way, some sign or pattern that can tell him where the traps are dotted as he walks. He thinks about how many times he's died already, how much pain he's endured. Jackson's words echo in his mind. This thing just wants to end you. Suddenly, a sharp axe flies from behind. He senses it just as he steps into its range. It slices through him with brutal precision, but Encrid smiles. He's starting to feel it, the killing intent hidden in these traps. He returns to the cobbler's house, his mind now obsessed with one thing: how to detect the deadly intent woven into these traps. This time, he doesn't dive in. Instead, he walks back and forth in the same area over and over again, trying to feel the subtle energy. Eventually, he chooses a path he's never walked before. Nothing feels wrong here. Maybe this is the right one. Still, he checks the others too. One of them had once showered him with blades. Another had split his body in two. He remembers the feeling. That wasn't just any ordinary danger. The cobbler asks, "Why are you wandering like that?" Stomach upset. Encrid had told him to stay upstairs before, but now he realizes it doesn't even matter anymore. He returns to the new path and vows to keep walking until he senses the trap. Day turns to night. Eventually, he emerges from the pit. The cobbler is shocked. "How did you spend so long down there without food?" Encrid simply replies, "I'll be back tomorrow. Don't touch anything." The cobbler pleads for help again. He says he can't even sleep anymore. He's terrified his only daughter might go missing too. Encrid asks, "Any clue about your wife?" The cobbler explains that many people have gone missing recently, but no one's done anything. He asks Encrid to let him know if he ever sees a dusky woman with freckles wearing a certain ring. Encrid nods and returns to his bunk, trying to train his killing intent, but he misses completely. Rem teases him. "Looks like you've been wasting too much time with Mr. Bootman." After that, they both go to sleep. Encrid realizes something. This is the first time he's ended a day without dying. The real question now is, will he reach tomorrow, or will today start all over again? He decides to sleep and find out, but fate doesn't let him go. He wakes up again in the same day. Again, he descends into the tunnel once more. This time, he resolves not to sleep at all. He watches the sunrise over the mountains, but the moment he closes his eyes, he's back to the same day again. Rem repeats the same lines once more. And now, Banquet fully understands. Until he overcomes this wall, he will never escape today. It didn't matter anymore. Encrid had already made up his mind he wouldn't face tomorrow until he conquered this. 20 days passed. He spent every moment training his body to adapt to a fear that was no longer fear, but a signal of imminent death. By day 40, he no longer needed the torch. He tossed it aside. He had learned to see in the dark. 50 days. 60. 70. He no longer feared the deadly traps or their horrific consequences. He had trained with Jackson, who was stunned at how quickly Encrid had absorbed everything. On the 72nd day, Encrid prepared himself for what was to come. Rem asked if he was really going to wage war inside the boots, but now, Encrid remembered all 6 paths through the tunnels, as clearly as the lines on his palm. He believed only one of them was trap-free, but he soon realized something chilling. Whoever had designed these tunnels was a complete maniac. Every single path was rigged. None were truly safe. There was only one solution. Don't stop. Just keep moving. The first path had a laser trap. A single misplaced step meant instant death. And ironically, it was probably the easiest of them all. Taking a deep breath, he made his move. A sudden blast of pain hit him, making his entire body tremble. He shifted his foot slightly to the left and nothing happened. He had taken the first step, then the second, the third. He was in complete focus now. His sixth sense had awakened. He wasn't seeing the path anymore, he was feeling it. Every step, every breath, every motion, he could sense it all. Finally, he made it through. Another wall overcome. And when the zombies started charging at him, he didn't panic. In fact, he smiled. It was like receiving a gift. He knew those zombies carried poison on their claws, lethal even from the slightest scratch. Most people would face them in teams, but Encrid, he was different now. His heart had been emptied of fear. His body danced through their attacks. Agile, precise, he tore through them one by one, without taking a single hit. And when it was over, he chuckled. That was incredible. He almost wished someone had been there to see it. But then, more monstrous creatures emerged, beasts so twisted. They looked like the result of fusing multiple animals together. Encrid had no idea what they were, but he didn't stop. He pressed forward, elsewhere. Esther was growing concerned. Why would Encrid carry such a heavy weapon into the boots? Was he expecting an attack? If he died, it would be a disaster. He was taking too many risks. When she arrived at Muchi's home, she could immediately feel the presence of dark magic and something sinister in the air. Back in the tunnels, Encrid defeated the last of those strange monsters. But something wasn't right. He could still sense faint breathing somewhere inside the cave. Soft, shallow, almost fading. Was there another beast? As he reached the end of the cave, what he saw made his blood run cold. The cavern was filled with rotting limbs, human and animals strung up on spikes, abandoned to decay. And in the middle of that hellscape lay a woman, barely breathing, whispering for peace, for death to come and end her torment. Then Encrid noticed the ring on her finger. It was Muchi's wife's. This woman, this barely living soul, was her. Suddenly, a man appeared. He'd heard someone approach. Smiling, he said, "Looks like we've got some fresh meat to play with. Maybe I'll make you a friend for Bami. He's been feeling lonely lately." Encrid asked him directly, "All these bodies, this was your doing?" The man didn't deny it. "Yeah, but they were all failures. Bami, he's my masterpiece. And now, I'll make you something beautiful too." Encrid knew one thing when it comes to fighting a magician. Running is sometimes smarter than fighting. If he died, maybe it would be peaceful, but if he survived, the torture could be worse than death. Still, he didn't back down, even if it took 1,000 tries. He was going to kill this monster. He threw a flying knife. It struck the magician's magical shield and bounced off. But that was just a distraction. Encrid used that moment to get in close. The magician shoved him back easily, hidden in a corner. Esther watched it all unfold. She had suspected a magician might be involved. Her own power was limited, but if she summoned everything she had, she could erase him. The magician cast a gust of wind so sharp it tore through Encrid's clothes. But Encrid dodged just in time. He couldn't see the magician, couldn't hear him, but he could feel his intent to kill. And that was enough. The magician was stunned. How had Encrid survived that? But Encrid was already a step ahead. Every move, he was reading it. He had once asked his team how to fight a magician. Rem said, "Just shoot an arrow at him." But Encrid knew that wouldn't work on someone this fast. Jackson said, "Attack when his guard is down." Odin suggested, "Charge in and fight face to face." But even that was useless against such a powerful shield. Only Rania had said something different. "Don't be afraid. If it breathes, it can die." Encrid threw himself at the magician with full force. His whistling daggers were useless against the shield, so he made a decision to crack the shield open like an egg. The magician allowed him to approach. He had already prepared his final spell, time for the exact moment Encrid would be most vulnerable. Esther, still watching, grew tense, but then she relaxed. She realized Encrid had already won. The magician's shield shattered. He was exposed. With a mighty swing, Encrid's sword cleaved nearly through him. He didn't even need to die this time to win. As the magician's body hit the ground, Encrid's sword fell with it. He had endured so much. That blade had been with him through all of it. The shock ran all the way to his bones, but he was unharmed. His armor had truly protected him not just from blades, but from everything. He turned toward Muchi's wife, but it was too late. She had already passed. Encrid's sixth sense had grown powerful enough to take down a magician, but this wasn't a victory. He had failed the mission he set out to complete. Ashamed, he lowered his head and walked away. Esther entered and looked at the magician's corpse. She muttered that he lost because he never used his true creation, a flash golem, designed to amplify a magician's strength. Just a slight spark could wake it. Now, she would make it hers. That magician had ruined her once, now it was her turn. Encrid reported everything to the ferry commander. The man was stunned. If the public ever found out that illegal experiments were being carried out in the heart of the city, chaos would erupt. Encrid agreed it was better to bury the truth. But the commander warned him if he hid this, no one would ever praise his efforts. Encrid shrugged. That didn't matter. Saving lives was the only thing that did. Soon, repairs to the tunnels began. A fake story was released. This had all been the work of the Thieves' Guild. Muchi accepted it too. He came to Encrid and handed him a gift, a new pair of boots. "Your old ones were falling apart," he said. I made these just for you. And, for the first time in a long while, Encrid felt a little lighter. Encrid smiles, acknowledging that Torres is still a better fighter for now. But Torres replies confidently, "You're not the only one who's been training." That excites Encrid. He draws his sword, ready for the next round. Torres launches the first strike, and Encrid counters. The air fills with the clash of steel, their swords raining down in rapid succession. Torres had already seen Encrid's fight with Harpus, and now he's certain this guy has gotten insanely strong. Still, Torres doesn't back down. He lowers both their blades suddenly and moves in for a punch. Encrid is caught off guard at first, but then realizes why just in time to dodge. Still, the hidden knife Torres had concealed slices Encrid's cheek, but Encrid doesn't flinch. He's not angry, he's impressed. That was Torres' secret technique, the hidden knife. And impressively, he didn't even need to cut his own finger for it to work. Encrid finds it all amusing, even cool. Torres expects to be mocked, maybe even called a coward, but instead, Encrid grins. That was awesome. Teach me that. Torres is skeptical at first, but eventually agrees. Alright, I'll show you a few tricks. Just then, the boat arrives. But both of them are so engrossed in their training, they don't even notice. The old boatman wonders whether these guys are ever actually going to get on board. Eventually, they do climb into the boat, but Encrid doesn't stop. He continues practicing even there. By morning, they arrive at their destination. They're supposed to meet a recon team, but Encrid has no idea where the rendezvous point is. Torres suggests first, let's clean up. We're drenched in sweat from all that training. Encrid doesn't argue. The smell is starting to bother him too. They both step into the water. As Torres turns around, he catches a glimpse of Encrid, removing his pants along with his true fighting sword. Torres stares, annoyed. His competitive spirit crumbles completely. Encrid, confused, simply says, "If you're ready, come at me." But Torres mutters, "That's not the spark I was talking about." Just then, a woman's voice breaks in, "There you are. I've been looking for you, and here you are, bathing." Encrid jumps, startled. Neither he nor Torres noticed her approach. She informs them they need to reach the cross ward before sunset. They need to move quickly. Torres protests, "How do you expect us to bathe properly like this?" She shrugs. "See whatever you want, doesn't bother me." Encrid is the first to step out, and she glances down at his sword. Torres notices the expression on her face, but she casually says, "I was just looking at his hands." She introduces herself as Finn and shakes Encrid's hand. "We've got 7 more missions ahead of us," she adds. Torres watches this and wonders, "What's wrong with my apps?" As they walk, Finn tells them they'll first need a quick briefing before talking about the main mission. Inside Crossguard, they had an undercover spy named Cat who was supposed to deliver critical intel for days ago. He never showed up at the meeting point. Since then, he's gone completely silent. Encrid asks, "Is he in danger?" Finn nods. "Most likely. We need to go inside and extract him." The front entrance of Crossguard is surrounded by forest and monster-infested terrain. The enemy uses it as a natural barrier, and there are very few patrols there. They'll need to sneak in using hidden paths. There are 3 options. The first is Dog Hole, a tunnel used by smugglers. The guards know about it, but intentionally ignore it. The second is scaling the city wall at night. It's exhausting, but the safest method. The last is posing as merchants and walking through the main gate. It's the easiest, but also the riskiest. Finn's platoon will remain at the rendezvous point in case Cat shows up there. Only Encrid, Torres, and Finn will infiltrate the city. She explains that each method has its own challenges and lets Encrid choose. Encrid thinks she made everything sound so simple, but it won't be. Torres steps back, saying, "You decide. You know the situation best." Finn selects Dog Hole. They'll move at dawn. That night, Encrid continues training. This time, he manages to throw a stone just a few inches away. Torres is baffled. How the hell did this guy even learn swordsmanship with this kind of skill? But he encourages him anyway. "It's alright. You'll get there. Later." Finn walks over and asks why he skipped dinner. She notices him making strange hand movements. Encrid replies, "It's training." She insists, "Fine, but eat first." One of her squad mates wants to be a chef, and the jerky he cooked is actually amazing. Encrid and Torres both agree it's delicious. Finn laughs. "You should get more from him. His parents run a food shop near the border. We should eat there sometime." She also warns Encrid, "Don't sleep under that yellow rock. There's a viper underneath." Encrid smirks. He already knew. One of his teammates was a hunter who warned him about it. Finn is impressed by his preparedness. "I like that in a man," she says, teasing him. Then she adds playfully, want to train? I mean, the grown-up kind. Encrid looks puzzled. Torres whispers, bro, she's hitting on you. Finn laughs, yeah, I might be rough, but I know how to be good in the right places. Torres protests. Can you not do this while I'm eating jerky? Encrid politely refuses. Finn's surprised. Why not? Then she remembers, oh right, you've got something going on with the ferry commander, don't you? Encrid, as usual, has no idea what's going on. When did this joke become serious? Finn smiles and says, all right, we'll keep it normal from now on. Then she gives the order, sleep, tomorrow's going to be long. Under the red moonlight, Encrid finally rests. His thoughts begin to fade, until suddenly, he sees the ferryman. He jerks a pride he hadn't seen him in a long time. That could only mean one thing, a message. He recalls how the ferry commander had once apologized for something. That memory makes him smile. He knows another wall is waiting to be broken. The next morning, Torres asks, why are we moving in daylight? This is an infiltration. Finn replies, the guards may look the other way, but they're not stupid. Encrid agrees. The enemy likely isn't expecting an attack. That's why this might be their best chance. Torres shrugs. I'm probably just here so someone else can take the blame if it goes wrong. But he presses on anyway. As they move, Encrid analyzes Finn's movements. She's a ranger. She moves light and silent, scouting ahead. There's barely a sound in her footsteps. Encrid wonders if he can ever move like that. Suddenly, a squad of guards appears. They're surrounded. Finn signals them to fall back, but behind them, more guards close in. The enemy commander gives the order, kill them. The three of them brace for battle. Crossbows fire. Finn is hit. They take down as many guards as they can. But Encrid knows Torres and Finn don't have experience dealing with this kind of large-scale force. And just as he feared, Finn gets distracted by a downed target and Torres is stuck in defense. Both are killed at the same time. Encrid realizes this is the wall he must now break. But he won't give up. With a sharp whistle, he launches a flurry of throwing knives and charges forward with his sword, but on the commander's order. The enemy pins him down fast. No matter how much he struggles, it's clear death is inevitable. The reset begins once more. Encrid paused, lost in thought. A force that massive couldn't have just appeared there by coincidence. It was clear they'd been waiting for them all along. That realization had to stay etched in his mind. Just then, Finn approached, asking why he wasn't ready yet. They had to take the smuggler's path. But Encrid shook his head. I don't know why, but something about that path doesn't feel right. What if we climb the wall instead? Torres chimed in. Encrid once shattered an enemy's spell just through instinct. Trusting his gut might not be a bad idea. Finn understood but hesitated. That'll mean waiting until nightfall though. We'll waste valuable time. Encrid grinned. Well, then how about a warm-up round? At first, Finn was confused. Did he really mean a fight in broad daylight? But Encrid was talking about a regular sparring session. Disappointed, Finn reminded him that she didn't fight with swords. Encrid proposed. Then let's do it hand to hand. She agreed. Encrid figured whether the enemy knew they were coming or not. A fight was inevitable. Might as well use the time for some training and assess his team's capability. You go first, he said. But Finn motioned with her hand. You start. Encrid lunged with a punch, leaving himself wide open. Finn countered with a kick, which he barely blocked. She retreated, only to strike again with another kick, this one faster. Sharper. Encrid recognized the move as dangerous. He countered, using a technique from the ferry commander, using his body weight to charge and throw her down. But before he could gain the upper hand, Finn locked him into a crushing leg hold. Watching from the side, Torres declared, it's over, she won. Encrid thought to himself, she may be small, but she's packed with muscle. No wonder she loves close combat. Honestly, she was the perfect sparring partner. Smiling, Encrid asked, one more round? Finn didn't reply, just gave him a look. Sparring, just sparring. He clarified quickly. Please, Torres muttered, can you not do this in front of me? As the sun dipped below the horizon, Finn reminded them it was time to move. She looked at Encrid and raised a brow. You're going like that? He asked. What's wrong with my gear? Finn pointed at his overstuffed loadout. You're carrying too many weapons. You'll be exhausted before you even start climbing. Torres asked, how's he looking to you? Finn just sighed. Fine. Whatever. Torres wandered to a corner, silently weeping, his emotions crushed. I think I can still climb with all this gear, Encrid said. Finn chuckled at his naive confidence. Don't forget, it's not just a wall, it's a mountain too. Encrid nodded. Every wall I've faced has been tough, but I've always made it through. After returning from the magician's tunnel, Encrid had earned enough to forge a new sword as old one was destroyed. When Cryas saw the magical tools he brought back, he was stunned. Encrid could have sold just one and bought an entire set of gear. "Give me the best sword you can make," Encrid had told him. Cryas shook his head. This guy lives for swords. It's all he thinks about to Encrid. A sword wasn't just a weapon, it was his lifeline. He couldn't move without it. "You could have at least left that giant long sword behind," Finn pointed out. "It's sucking all your energy." Encrid agreed it was heavy, but his muscles had long since surpassed their limits. He'd faced harder challenges before. This was nothing. Eventually, he climbed the wall. "This guy's making his own life harder," Finn muttered. Torres wondered if this was just another excuse for training. Suddenly, a pack of lycanthropes passed beneath them. Seeing them in such numbers is rare, Torres whispered. Finn warned them to stay alert. The wall was right ahead, but daylight still lingered, and they couldn't climb under cover yet. Finn reassured them. When both moons rise, the light gets so intense that even the guards stop paying attention. She gave the signal, and the trio quietly advanced. But only Encrid noticed the guard who had previously ignored them now staring at them piercingly, as if he saw their souls. Still, they reached the wall. "Told you it'd be easy," Finn said. But Encrid didn't feel relieved. He was certain that guard had seen them. Maybe the guard had simply doubted his own eyes. As they prepared to climb, Finn explained, "There are slums on the other side. If we hide there, the enemy will never find us." She urged Encrid, "Leave the sword. This climb will be tough." But Encrid refused. "What's a workout without some weight? This guy's insane," Finn thought. As they ascended, Encrid realized why this path was safest. If they got past the wall, infiltrating crossguard would be easier. But what if this, too, was an ambush? Just as that thought passed his mind, a woman's voice rang out. "You've worked hard to get this far. Now rest." A net of vines came flying toward them. "Duck," Finn shouted. "She's a mudge." She threw knives as she yelled for Torres and Encrid to retreat to the lower base. But the sorceress destroyed everything in her path. Encrid hadn't expected this, but he charged anyway. He had fought a magician before and had closed the sixth sense gap. He remembered Jackson's advice: trust your senses, but don't rely on them completely. A powerful mage can deceive them. And that's exactly what happened. Vines slammed him back. "You idiot," Finn screamed. She and Torres were trapped and injured by the vines. No matter how hard Encrid fought, he couldn't free himself. Clapping her hands, the mage mocked. "Brave effort." She introduced herself as Wretch of the Rose Vines before slamming him with an explosive spell. Encrid had lost. He realized just like not all foot soldiers are the same, not all mages are either. He had grown overconfident. Charging him blindly, the ferryman appeared. "You finally understand your place. You use your power to push ahead, not to carry the pain of your failures. Before this wall, you're just an ant." But Encrid smiled. "Thank you. You've reignited my fire." The ferryman grinned back. "Let's see if you'll say the same at the third wall." Encrid turned to Finn. "This time, we'll sneak in disguised as merchants. I don't trust the other routes anymore." Finn agreed. "But we'll need to blend in with real traders." They head to crossguard tomorrow morning. But now came the real challenge. How would Encrid survive a whole day without breaking through a wall? Torres shrugged. "Well, there's nothing we can do now. Might as well rest." Finn already had a plan. She ordered her soldiers to bring everything out soon. A feast of meat and drinks was laid before them. Encrid was shocked. "Aren't we too close to the enemy for this? Isn't this dangerous?" Finn laughed. "If we can't act, what's the point of worrying? Overthinking dulls your mind. Relax, your shoulders are too tense." Encrid had always believed that being the best meant training every second. But maybe Finn was right. He thought the only way to break through was head on. But now he understood sometimes peace and clarity could reveal another path. Today's defeat, this rest, this revelation, they all became a part of him. Finn had told him to rest. But even now, no one could tell what Encrid was really doing. "Maybe," Torres said, "this is what Encrid calls resting." Finn didn't understand him. But she smiled. "At least he looks good doing it." Torres just looked away, quietly crushed. Night fell. Encrid felt like the day had changed. Something inside him. It wasn't wasted after all. The first trial had guards. The second, a powerful mage. What would stop them now? Then came a chilling roar of lycanthropes. Encrid instantly knew. "These are the same ones we saw this afternoon." Finn screamed, "Run!" But it was too late. They were surrounded. Torres trembled. "It takes 10 men to take down one lycanthrope. There are 20 here." Finn was stunned. How did they all get here unnoticed? Encrid realized his senses had failed him again. This had to be Wretch's doing. She had promised not to interfere, but that didn't mean defeating her would be easy. Encrid tried to dodge using his instincts, but the beasts were unpredictable, striking from all angles like wild animals. Eventually, he had to draw his blade, but as he zoomed out of his own fight, he heard the screams of his companions. They were being slaughtered. He knew the day would reset, but watching it unfold each time was just as painful. One by one, he cut them down. But then the largest lycanthrope, probably the leader, punched him in the chest, sending him flying. Vulnerable in midair, the others rushed him. The ferryman appeared again. No matter which path you choose, every wall is just as tall. And until this day ends, you'll keep reliving it, he added, still enjoying yourself. Encrid gritted his teeth. I'm not enjoying it, but I won't give up. If all three paths are blocked, I'll find a fourth. Encrid stood still, completely frozen in thought. Such a massive force couldn't have just appeared there by chance. That meant they had been expecting them all along. He needed to remember that from now on. Suddenly, Finn appeared beside him, asking why he wasn't ready yet. They were supposed to take the smuggler's path. Encrid hesitated. I don't know why, but I have a bad feeling about that route. What if we climb the wall instead? Torres turned to Finn and said, Encrid once detected an enemy spell with nothing but his senses. Maybe trusting his instinct isn't such a bad idea. Finn understood, but she pointed out they'd have to wait until nightfall, and that would cost them time. Encrid smirked. Why don't we spar until then? Finn blinked, confused at first. Did he really mean a fight in broad daylight? But Encrid meant a normal sparring session. A little disappointed, Finn reminded him that she didn't use swords. He grinned and suggested, then let's fight without weapons. She agreed with a nod, and so began their training match. Encrid believed that a fight was bound to happen regardless of whether the enemy knew they were coming. Better to prepare the team than assess everyone's capabilities in the meantime. He told Finn to strike first, but she motioned for him to come at her. He lunged with a punch, exposing his side. Finn countered with a quick kick, which he blocked. With his other arm, she feigned a retreat but swiftly launched another kick. Encrid anticipated this might be dangerous, and responded with a move from his fairy commander technique. Using the weight of his body to charge her, he managed to knock her down, but Finn quickly grabbed his arm and trapped him in a leg lock. Torres, watching the whole thing, announced the match over. Finn had clearly won. Encrid thought to himself, she may be small, but her body is packed with muscle. No wonder she prefers hand-to-hand combat. She's the perfect training partner. Without missing a beat, Encrid asked for another round. Finn didn't say anything, just gave him a look. He quickly clarified, I meant sparring, nothing more. Torres groaned. Please stop doing this stuff in front of me, and in front of everyone else. As the evening sun dipped lower, Finn reminded them it was time to move. She glanced at Encrid and asked if he was really going to climb like that. What's wrong with what I'm wearing? He asked innocently. You're carrying way too many weapons. You'll wear yourself out before we even reach the wall. Torres asked him how he felt. Finn just stared at him and said, fine, whatever. In the corner, Torres shed a quiet tear. His feelings had taken a hit. Encrid still believed he could climb, even with all that gear. Finn smiled faintly at his simple optimism, but reminded him, we're not just climbing a wall. We've got a mountain ahead too. I know it's a challenge, he admitted, but no wall I've ever faced has been easy every time. I've pushed through something bigger. When he returned from the mage's tunnel, Encrid had collected trophies to forge a new sword his old one had broken. Cryas had been stunned by the sheer amount of magical tools Encrid had brought back. One of them alone could have paid for a full set of equipment. Encrid had told him, make me the best sword possible. Cryas muttered to himself, is there anything this guy cares about other than swords? But for Encrid, the sword wasn't just a weapon, it was his lifeline. Going without one wasn't an option. Finn tried to reason with him. That heavy long sword of yours, at least leave that behind. It'll drain all your energy. Encrid acknowledged that it was heavy, but said his muscles had already been pushed to their limit many times before. This was nothing new. And so, he climbed. Finn looked up at him scaling the wall and muttered, he's the one making life hard for himself. Torres wondered if this entire detour was just an excuse to train. Suddenly, a group of lycanthropes passed beneath them. That many in one place? That's rare, Torres whispered. Finn warned them to stay alert. The wall was just ahead, but there was still too much daylight left. They couldn't climb without cover. Relax, Finn said. When both moons are in the sky, the light is so bright even the guards stop paying attention. She signaled them, and they moved quietly. But only Encrid noticed one guard. He had been ignoring them before. but now his eyes locked onto them with an intensity that pierced straight through. They still made it to the wall. Finn beamed. See? Told you it would be easy. But Encrid wasn't so sure. He believed that Guard had definitely seen them. Maybe his own instincts were misleading him. They prepared to climb. Finn explained that shantytowns lay beyond the wall. If they could hide there, the enemy wouldn't be able to track them. She told Encrid to leave his sword behind. This climb would be even harder if there's no weight. How is it a workout? He replied. This guy was unbelievable. As they climbed, Encrid began to understand why this path was the safest. If they crossed the wall, infiltrating cross-guard would be easy. But what if this was another trap, like the tunnel ambush? How would the enemy try to stop them this time? Just as they reached the top, a woman's voice echoed, "You worked hard to get here. Now, rest." Suddenly, vines erupted toward them. Duck, Finn shouted. It's a mudge. She threw her daggers and yelled for Torres and Encrid to retreat to the lower base. But the mudge destroyed everything in her path. Encrid hadn't expected vines, but he charged anyway. He'd fought a magician before and had trained his sixth sense. He remembered Jackson's advice. Trust your senses, but don't rely on them entirely. A strong enemy, especially a mage, can deceive them, and that's exactly what happened. The vines threw Encrid back violently. You idiot, Finn screamed. She and Torres were soon trapped and injured by the vines too. Encrid tried everything to free himself, but the vines were too strong. The mage clapped slowly, mockingly. Brave effort. She introduced herself as the Wretch of the Rose Vines and triggered an explosion on Encrid. He lost. Only now did he realize, just as not every foot soldier is the same, neither is every mage. He'd gotten arrogant. He thought he was strong enough to charge in without thinking. The ferryman appeared again. Understand your place now? He asked. He noticed something strange. Encrid wasn't using his current power at well. In pain, he was already looking ahead. To a wall like this, you're just an ant, the ferryman said. But Encrid smiled. Thank you. You've reignited my fire. That's what I needed. The ferryman smirked. We'll see if you still say that when you reach the third wall, later. Encrid turned to Finn and said they would infiltrate as merchants this time. Every other route felt wrong again. She agreed but said they'd need to join the real merchants entering Crossguard tomorrow morning. The only problem? Could Encrid survive a whole day without climbing a wall? There's nothing we can do for now. Torres said. Let's just rest. Finn had a plan. She told one of her soldiers to bring everything out, and they unveiled a feast of meat and drinks. Encrid was shocked. We're doing this in front of the enemy. Isn't this too relaxed? Finn laughed. When there's nothing to do, worrying is no good. People lose their ability to think when they're too tense. Just relax. Have a drink. Your shoulders are too stiff. Encrid had always believed that becoming the best meant never taking a break. But maybe Finn was right. He used to think charging head-on was the only way to overcome walls. Now he realized that sometimes the smarter path lay in calm, careful thinking. This moment, this failure, this peace, it was all becoming part of him. Finn had told him to rest. But now, not even Encrid knew what he was doing. Torres just sighed. Maybe this is Encrid's version of rest. Even if Finn didn't understand his ways, she smiled. At least he looks good doing it. Torres looked down sadly. Night fell. Encrid felt that today had brought a revelation, and that thought alone made the day worthwhile. Thinking back, the first wall had guards, the second had a mage. What would stop them this time? Just then, a chilling roar pierced the night. It was a lycanthrope. Encrid immediately realized these were the same ones they saw earlier that day. Finn shouted, "Run!" But it was too late. The beasts surrounded them from all sides. Torres trembled. It takes 10 men to take down one lycanthrope. There are 20 of them. Finn was stunned. How did they show up so suddenly? There were no monsters nearby. Encrid realized even his senses had been deceived. Could this be Wretch's doing? She said she wouldn't endanger herself, but that didn't mean she was easy to defeat. Encrid tried dodging their attacks, but they were unpredictable beasts without rhythm. He had no choice but to block with his blade. Just when he zoomed out to assess the field, he heard the screams of his comrades. All around him, they were being slaughtered. He knew the day would reset, but watching it happen still tore him apart. One by one, he brought the beasts down, but then a massive lycanthrope likely. The leader punched him hard in the chest, sending him flying. Midair and defenseless, the other beast closed in. The ferryman returned once more. Whatever path you choose, every wall is equally tall. And as long as this day repeats, you'll be stuck in the same loop. Are you still enjoying it? Encrid replied. It's not fun, but I can't give up. If all three paths are blocked, I'll find another way.